hopefully, and maybe I'll grab myself a cookie if there's any still left. There's probably aren't any left, but I'll see if I can snag one. Go get them, boys.
Yeah. What happened, Joey? You see that squat? There's gonna be another squatting video. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And where are all the beautiful people in the chat today? Big Smile Burdette, he's verified too. What up? Right back at you, Big Smile. I hate all these names with the ats. Bring it back. Normally, I can't read these. JS Haas ATX, Austin McVetti, the Productive Detective. Fantastic. Why not? Why not? Bob, the Dang Builder, and we have one of the OGs, Gorev. We got Trawat64, sorry, Kirk D. Jeremy Newman, who else? Mr. Ian, show yourself, new names. Donkey Trader, we got Anthony 2000. Shout out to Liddy Bands and
you got those ready?
Why not? Why not? Marvel. We got Stuart ID, Jaguar Nut, Mike Padafora. Sorry, I probably butchered that. I do apologize. Who else? We got the Rainmaker. T, Joe Beats. We got Big Joe 360. Ooh. I don't think Big Joe is gonna like that, man.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. You can't have too many people with the big moniker, though. Shout out to Sam. What is this? Samuel7594. Shout out to you, Mike, the Stock Impaler. Sorry, guys, a little anticlimactic. Super hard to read with all the names. Super. Condensed like that, Joey.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Friday, baby.
Yeah, happy Friday, man. Yeah, it's been a choppy one. I don't know. Well, it depends perspective. Oh, there it is. All right.
Yo, look. There we go.
There it is.
I gotta say, man, you changed fundamentally, though. Like, and not in a bad way. Like, obviously, you're a great-looking guy and everything, but like, you know, to me, you're just a different person in these pictures, right? Like, you did change substantially. I love the pictures, though, man. And Assassino said the exact same thing to Ramin. You a fundamentally different person.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
Oh, man was a killer still, right?
Hey! Yeah, you're getting a lot of love there in the chat. I'm sure you are, bro. Look at that.
I appreciate it. I told you guys, man.
Was that the longest that they were ever been?
No, they got a little longer. Those are like kind of outdated. In high school, if I could pull up some of the old pictures, they got down to just around.
So that's Grandma's house right there.
Yeah, that's Grandma's house.
Grandma's got the hookups, guy.
Yeah, there it is.
Love it.
Joe Fro is what they used
Joe
to call me.
Fro.
Yeah, Joe Fro, a lot of those names. No, guys, in all seriousness, thanks for all the love in the chat and everything. Yeah, exactly, the Heartbreak Kid. That's exactly... Joe looking
it's
like
not Shawn Michaels, it's Joey Options.
Yeah.
The Heartbreak
Exactly,
Kid.
the Heartbreak Kid. No, thanks, Joey Locks and all.
Oh, here we go. Right away. He doesn't wait, Joey. He doesn't wait.
I mean, $10.
You got to read that out, Joey.
But hold it.
I'm going to have to read it out.
Now the super chats have upped. He's got the puts obviously cooking, so that's why.
You noticed that, huh? Yeah.
He's got those puts cooking.
Hold on, we're going to have to read this out, Joey. What was longer, Joseph? The dreads or that inseam? There it is. Thank you, Big Smile, for the $10 super chat. Funny guy, Mike the Rider, loving that one.
Yeah, good stuff. But anyways, to trading, guys, I told you guys I'd pull those up. Glad that you're enjoying them a little bit. So there it is. But yeah, we're like relatively flat, slightly green on the session here, guys. You can see we got a long on the TQs. I attempted a short on NVDA, and I took one stab at it. I'm like, no, we're not going to go against one of the stronger names, even though we're still negative on the session. So there's a little loss right there. But TQs was nice, and then we took a loss on Reddit as well. And you can just see the ATR and the volatility really pick up, because from where I was there, roughly my stop loss is approximately $2, a little bit more. So yeah, you can see it, and then it just started to roar after. I'm like, you know what? After it sold off this little bit, I was just gonna avoid it, but then a big time recovery in our DDT. But that's what we got going on. I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on some things here. The market has now pulled back through south of the volume weighted average price, so we'll keep an eye out on that one as well too. But yeah, slightly green on this session. Let's see what else we can cook up for you guys here.
All right, man. Adding to this position, if I can, at volume weighted average price here on. There we go. We got the add LXCH. We're gonna put anything below that 50 area print. We're gone. Zeno. Oh my goodness. on that, I have an insane amount of shares for open, and I need to adjust that. So I'm going to have to adjust this one first. Let me go back to open over here and see what the situation is. Yeah, I'm going to have to flatten out here. I took a lot of shares on open. I didn't mean to, so let's see exactly what the situation is. I'm gonna let this one go. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to open over here. Let's see if it ends up finding support. So the 10 exponential for me is 207. So like we can put it over here into that, and then we'll let that one go if it breaks 204. So that's exactly what we'll do. Just need to make sure what I know my order size is for the next one, which is waiting at 9s, right? So there it is. So how many shares is that for? That's fine. So I can go ahead and do just that. So there we go. We've organized there. All right, so now what I'm looking at, LXEH is gonna have to hold VWAP here. It's already showing me 65 on the bid. What do we have on this one? We got 63, so let's go ahead and post on LXEH at 66s. So we'll see what we can get around there. Also, I'm involved in IMAB. So I worked into this one. This one just cleared VWAP. It doesn't seem to be respecting VWAP all that much. It's more of a 10 EMA hold. I've taken out some here through the break of 310s. We got 11s. Here we go again. We're showing 9s now. There has been a staunchy seller on IMAB at 10s and 11s. And you see we work up into that 10 again, barely any size. We're talking a few hundred lots here on a $3 name, preventing us from ascending. So clearly there's an iceberg order, AKA a hidden seller at that level that we'll have to shake. We did get into 344 high a day. There was a triple top there, generally a triple top, but with lower highs. I'm talking about this area right here. So again, we work up into 10s, and again, we don't get filled. So I'm going to keep my patience with this one to see if we can take out that seller, but it probably does behoove me to throw some more orders out on that one, so I'll put some in the high teens, and then if we get really gangster, maybe even that low 20s. Get it, Joe? So that's what we'll be doing on that one. Again, showing 10s, unable to shake the seller. So that's what I'm keeping. There we go. Now we're up into 13. Can we squeeze 15s now? We're taking out levels, Joey. So we just took out a bunch of levels there, quick as you like. We still have the 1050 candle with that high into 18s. So 18s is a local area high. Obviously the high of the day is 44. Let's see if we can shake that seller at 18s. I think that's where we kind of topped out there. So I'll keep my eye out on that. Back to LXEH. If this one loses the $0.50, it also makes a lower high, which is not what I want. I'm looking for the higher lows here. So anything below that $0.50 psychological area of support. In addition to that, it is the prior area low. So you have a double whammy for that level. Let's go back to open because I have more shares than I'd like on this one. We're break even, 1 penny out of the money, excuse me, on this one. So let's go ahead and post on open at some of these levels over here, see if we can get something possibly into the 20s, and I'll put some in the mid 20s as well. So that's the look on OPEN, still zigging and zagging at that level. Joey, what are you looking at over there?
I'm actually looking at Coinbase, obviously just kind of thinking about some of that earnings report, just how some of the transactions have been down, and then sure enough, you're seeing this move that that we're seeing. I'm thinking, hey, maybe we're getting a little bit of a rotation into some of the other names, right? You could like Robinhood, you can trade crypto and equities, so that's interesting, kind of a one-trick pony here. I didn't
really get. Did you see the report on this thing?
Yeah.
Are you as confused by the report as I am? Yeah, because the comps with the other companies don't make any sense.
We're good, right? Like I mean,
we're really good.
That they got the American Express deal as well.
Dude, I mean, look at all the amount of money that came into Robinhood, the amount of money that came into SoFi. You weren't. I guess maybe the expectations were crazy lofty.
Yeah, I mean, the transactions
I don't know what the hell is that making sense.
The transactions were down though.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that had to do with it. Pretty forward-looking. I think at some point we're going to get a rebound here in Coin, considering the move that we got from the Genius Act. So we'll keep an eye out on Coin just in case we get somewhat of a bounce here, guys. But it seems like a relatively weak session on the day. Anything north of VWAP, we'll hop into some Coin L maybe to see what we got cooking up. But where the market is laying right now, I don't see anything super attractive. And you know my style, guys. I'm just going to be a sniper here on the session, right? First day of the month, I like to kind of get rocking and rolling and try to put in as best of, obviously every day, but the first day is big for me. Yesterday was fantastic between Shreve and the team. I shouldn't say it just between him and I, but the whole team trading Fig. That was a whole lot of fun. Got some more content you guys on that front. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Next time we're going super heavy there. I don't know why I did that, but anyways.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. So UNH, good job, Adara, on that one. As you can see, we're starting to pull back towards the volume-weighted average price on this one, and this thing is continuing to bleed. I'm like thinking, when are you going to rebound? But sure enough, you just snap through some of these support levels, and then you continue that southeast trajectory there. So that's what we got going on. Yes, and Jacques, I'm still holding those VIX calls. I pretty much closed everything. So I closed my IBIT contracts, and then I actually grabbed a little bit more Ethereum. I don't know how much I'm loving that, but I'll sit in that for a while. And then now I'm just sitting in VIX calls. So I literally have 2 positions out of the 5 that I was in on my swing accounts, and the majority of them in closed with a little addition to Ethereum. So that's what I got going on. Eyes on the overall market. Let's see if we can find a prime time entry, Sharif.
All right, man. AB treated me well over here, so now I've put my stop. I've moved it up from prior area low into the low of, below $3. So I'm in at 4s. Anything below 3s, we don't have that much left, gets me out of the trade, and here it comes. It looks like it's going to zig and zag, possibly into that $3 hole area. Best print we got on this one, 322. It did spike into that area. It has higher lows and higher highs. So I don't want to be too aggressive with the stop placement. If I'm seeing trend continue, and I'm seeing it in this case. Why? Because I'm seeing the higher highs and higher lows, even though the range per candle is wide, means it wicks up, it wicks down, it wicks up, wicks up. But if your general trend is still each candle, successive candle has higher lows and higher highs, you're still holding trend. Back up into 20 we go. So let's see what this one does. Packing my patience on this one, looking for that high 20, low 30 next area prints, but we're going to have to clear 20 decisively before we even talk about that. We did clear 20 super momentarily, though. That's where the 22 wick came in. Back to LXEH, holding generally. We're, okay, wow, that just took out all my orders, Joey. This thing's psycho. Psycho, all the way up from 55 into this candle, filling me all the way up into 70. Now it's showing 80. Get it, LXEH. Can we get another print here at 80? We're waiting. You know, might as well wet the beak since we're already up here. I'm going to go ahead and post, where are we at here? Get that fly, Joey. We're going to post at 69, see if we can take another quick print there. But it's really the story going to be about open over here. It's holding. I perceive this to possibly be a bull flag off that area trough into that $1.85 area. We clear the pre-market high, which is what got me interested. We didn't clear by all that much, though, full disclosure. We got into 215, the pre-market. The high, the technical high of the day is 220. So we're getting a lot of selling at 14s. I'm not sure what that's all about. Look at the churn here. Look at the amount of shares. 3,000, 5,400, 5,000, all coming in at 14s. Can't shake the seller at 14. So staunchy person that is, and I'm in at 15s, by the way. I didn't even get my DCA into 8s, despite the fact that it did come into 8s. It didn't cross, though, so we didn't get the print. So that's the issue. All right, we took the print here at 69 on LXEH. Now we're waiting at 80. Let me post more orders here on LXEH in the mid-80s. We're going to wait at 84s, and then we're going to wait at 88s. Let's see what we get there on this one. Anything below 50 pennies, as I mentioned, though, on LXEH gets me out of this trade. Let's go back over now to IMAB. Okay, we still didn't print anything above my earlier print at 22. So that 27 print goes unfilled, and look at it drop all the way back down to 3. This is crazy price action here, Joey, on IMAB. A lot of zig, a lot of zag. We already knew it had wide range per candle, but the buyers and sellers almost at equilibrium here, because there we go. We'll get stopped out the remaining amount as it loses 3. So this one did make up a new candle to make a new low. That'll get me out of the trade quick as you like. So we'll give back a little bit on the last remaining amount, but it'll be profitable nonetheless. We'll keep an eye out on this one. Focusing on LXEH and open, Joey.
Good luck, brother. Shout out to Charlie Taff.
Get it, Charlie.
So what he said, Joe, happy, guess who grabbed 3 Qs puts end of day yesterday, sold them for over $1 each. For those who aren't familiar with what $1 is, that's $1,000. Obviously, I'm being slightly sarcastic. I DM'd you on X to prove I'm full out of it. Yeah, so there it is, bang, a nice $2,300 today. That's a solid Friday right there for sure. Don't spend it all in one place, Charlie, or don't do anything that I wouldn't do. That's for sure, because that would be gone really, really quick. All right, let's go. We got got a $2 super chat. Rod Rickenschlein. My options account is up 10% today.
That's crazy.
Let's go. Let's go is
I like
right.
hearing that.
Hold on, we're gonna hit this one for you. It's a storm. Today, everyone is storming. Stormin' Norman is what we used to call one of my uncles. So yeah, let's see what we got going on today, guys. Yeah, never
like
really
that.
liked that guy, but that's all right.
Dance on him, Donald.
I didn't, man.
I know, but he's your uncle. I guess people.
I'm sorry, did you just roast your uncle on
Did,
live
Like
YouTube?
in-law.
Oh,
okay.
that makes a big
little
difference.
bit.
That makes a big difference. Yeah, it does.
So
It does.
I'll
Yeah.
double down on that one. Really didn't like him. So
I like with this guy. Like, don't aggravate this guy. His face changes.
so there it is. Uncle Jim. No, he's old right now, but no, in all seriousness, guys.
Oh, boy.
Gore was saying he's looking for some longs at some key support levels here in the market. So that's not looking bad if you're playing this as your just a little bit below this range as your stop. For me, we're just in no man's land right now.
Okay.
I'm going to be looking for something precise, either at an extreme high or an extreme low. This is exactly why I was long the Qs off of this hammer candle right here. Did we get that 100% isolated volume signature? No, but we got that nice hammer print right there, and I had to take. You have to take those stabs right there on that trade. So we'll continue to monitor this. I think we are going to have somewhat of a bearish day. It's going to be tough to crack this. Something I think negative would have to step into that market, but until then, Ethereum selling off, so that's pretty cool, and other things too. So yeah, we're gonna see what we got here, Sharif.
Okay.
Patience is the name
Sounds
of today's
good.
game. I know you got some momentum rolling there.
Yeah, we were, things have calmed down a little bit. Still LXCH, we're kind of at the midpoint here, showing 69s. This one, it's got 1.5 million shares, okay, 1.45, but it's trading super light. Like, look, the book is barely moving. The tape is barely moving. So when it moves abruptly and erratically, both to the high side and to the downside. So you need to know this characteristic if you're going to trade LXCH. It's not the biggest percentage winner on the day, up about 27% and change. Let's see if it can get through that level. We did take out the 14 seller momentarily on open. We did work up into 15s, but we were met with aggressive selling at that level as well. So it's up 15, 16 and a third percent, but it's really unable to kind of clear this area top. It is really going to be 15 that is the issue, even though the seller right now is at 14. Why do I say that? Because two candles, both over here, neither of which closed above 15 or opened above 15. The close of the red candle is at 15, or the open, of the red candle is at 15, and the close of the green candle where I got in is at 15, despite the fact that we wicked up to 20. So let's see if we can wick back up there again, shake some sellers. We're still above the 10 EMA. I'm looking for this one to keep kind of going. We'll see what this one does. Tisha saying HCTI. Let me have a look at my friend HCTI. We'll just determine if it's my friend or not. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, I see this one, Tisha. Halted to the high side. Let's show everybody. HCTI, the ticker. This is the 5-minute candle on it. It's still negatory on the day, 33.25%, finding a bottom here at 361, rocketing up above 5, and now it's halted at 515. I don't know. I like the move back up, but it's still negative on the day. Let me know how this one goes, Tisha. If you're starting to print up on it and it makes its way closer to that high a day, I'll be interested certainly there. Pathek saying it reverse split from today. Gotcha. 03. Gotcha. Okay. All right. We'll see how that one ends up doing. These ones. Now, yeah, back to open over here. Still not clearing 15, but still above the 10 EMA. I'm going to let this one hold, Joey. I'm not going to determine anything on it, not take out anything, nor really adjust anything on it at the moment. Let's see what this one does if we can bull flag to the high side.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm just going to be keeping my eye on some things right now. Let's take a look at our scanners here to see if there's anything interesting just from a volume standpoint. And a significant amount has stepped in. I know a lot of people are trading TSLL this morning as well too. I haven't looked at Tesla in some time, to be honest with you. I just don't think the stock is overly in play, and there's other names, especially because it's earnings season, right? So there's a lot across the board in order for us to trade, that have us trade, right? So just keep that in mind. And you can see just from a daily, we're not in a breakout territory or anything along those lines. So I'll just call this no man's land once again. But you're just consistently forming these lower highs. And even though you do have this support level, you can see prices starting to compress. Which way is it going to break? I'm going to most likely suggest to the top side, right? So just because it is Tesla, we do have this massive pivot, and I think this was the all-time high. But if you just go back Oops, no, okay, that worked out pretty good. I don't like it when I do that and the thing stalls. But I mean, if you just go back, there's a nice period here, it's quite some time, 2 years, where Tesla did essentially nothing, and then it kind of gives this big move to the top side, extremely forward looking, and then you pull back, and then now you're starting to compress in price. So just keep that in mind. The tighter the PA gets, obviously the average true range is gonna condense as well too. So just keep that in mind. Something positive can come out, you chop around here a little bit more, something positive comes out, and then boom, you get that rip to the top side, breaking through some key resistance zones. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out on that specifically. Am I going to be trading it from a swing standpoint? I don't think so. More or less intraday style trading on Tesla. But Apple, Kyle was saying, hey, do you think this has another leg lower? And I'm like, yeah, if it does break through the support level, then I think you can take that additional leg to the downside. So there it is, consolidation, breakthrough support, and then now, sure enough, you're selling off. Okay, we got a lot of super chats rolling through. Let me get through some of them here. Yeah, Roderick LeClain says LMAO. I'm assuming that's towards the uncle comments. Yeah, pretty funny stuff. I'll tell you guys why I didn't like him, because one morning I woke up, tried watching cartoons, and then he took the converter from me and switched it up, said we're not watching this, bleep. And this is my house. Like, I don't know who you are there, brother. I was just a young kid. But anyways, long story short, that's the end of that one. $20. Thoughts on Hood breaking above 100. Sharif, I know you like my little rants there. I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened. So
I just have one comment.
What?
It's called the remote. No, I'm playing.
He took the remote from me.
No,
Yeah,
you said converter, though.
Oh,
no,
converter,
we're just playing, bro. That's the last thing you want to hear when you're hot in a story like that. It's like, don't correct me, bro. Don't correct me.
Oh, yeah. Wow, yeah. Robinhood taking it on the chin here, Sharif. I don't know, withstanding that blow maybe, possibly. But, I mean, the all-time high on this one was around 113. And then we put in a low of the day of around $93. So that's a little bit of a pullback there, but starting to head towards that $100 break. But you can see that you're starting to consolidate right around that specific target, and then you have some key support levels that can act as possible resistance right here at that 165. So keep an eye out on that one.
All right, guys. There is another one called TNON. I do see it, guys. I see you guys calling it out. Rocket Child. I did have this in my purview earlier today. Just wasn't doing enough. Let's weasel in and have a look at TNON. Yeah, see, it had a great move earlier on. 10 o'clock was the best it could do, 248 high day. The reason I didn't even want to mention this, even though it's basically the top left of my side charts right now, is because it's straddling VWAP from the south side, which is not bad because it's got higher lows over here. So it could certainly take out that level and then mosey back above that $2 area. So if it does that, hey, I'm game, man. I got no aversion to TNON. If it wants to start, making big moves, we'll get involved. It's just got to weasel back above the volume weighted average price. But it's really open here that I got to focus on. I've given my stop on open, guys, just so you know, to 5s. If it loses, 4s. If it loses 4s, it's all over, okay? So that's what I'm keeping my eye on here for OPEN. It is dropping, though. It doesn't look like it's going to bull flag. So I'm, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And this one doesn't look like it's got the juice to head back up. So we're going to let this one execute and see what comes. LXCH still zigging and zagging at that 70 penny area. Probably time to wet the beak up here as well. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to layer some orders as well at 75 just to catch a bit of a bid if this one is able to pop back up. Yeah, I'm going to put TNON over here instead of IMAB because this one's lost the bid completely. So we'll be ready if TNON wants to catch a bid. Did you get through all the supers, or should I go through
one
some?
more there. I think.
Which one did you get? The Jacques. Did you do Jacques?
Yeah, no, I didn't do.
All right, so shout out to Jacques, my man. $5 super chat. Hey fam, UCO is tanking a bit with Russia's deadline. Tariffs on countries buying their oil next week. What do you think for a swing? Lots of love right back at you, Jacques. One of the OGs there in the chat, no question about it. Let's have a look at UCO.
UCO.
So it's the Bloom. It's okay. So an ETF, guys. So this is it's a 2 times levered ETF. The Dow Jones AIG crude oil sub index. Okay, gotcha. So we're talking oil. Let's do a little daily. Okay, so yeah, you're already on a lower high trend here, and you're also having a lot of trouble breaking through that 200. Every time you break through the 200, you're kind of dropping back down. Yeah, look, there's clearly some support here, Jacques, at 23.5-ish, right? That's kind of what I see there. And that kind of jives because it's used that level multiple times. It looks like that's a 50 moving average there that it's straddled as resistance. Once it gets above it, it uses it as support. I would say, yeah, that you could get in here with your stop above area high. I'll let Joey speak for himself, but that 27, if you break above 27, well then you've changed trend because you've broken through area high. So if you were to short here, my stop would be up here. I would also be interested if you were to short here and you've proven right, and this ends up breaking that flat bottom around 24, 23.5, I'd be adding, right, for a break back down. But have you seen gas prices today?
No, are they up? I got to fill it up too. Brutal.
Yeah, 140 something now.
For reg.
We're up almost 10 pennies in a week.
For regular.
Yeah. I always give you the reg number, and then it's like $1.90 for
like
91 or whatever, $2. Yeah.
My good old 93.
Yeah, okay, this guy is an animal, man. He puts 93. I don't even put 93. All right, so that's kind of how I see that, Jacques. I hope, you know, I didn't butcher the analysis too much over there, but let me know how you do, brother, and I hope you're printing up multiple storms, man. You're every day, you're putting in the hours, you're putting in the work, and I wish you the best of luck, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just speaking of swing trading here, Sharif, I got my eyes on Amazon here. Number's not too bad. It's just the guidance that you got to keep an eye out for, right? But what a massive gap down, and you just kind of engulf a lot of what of that move that we've seen. So that's a 10% move to the downside there, guys, especially from this peak right here. So just keep an eye on that inverted hammer, and the volume is supporting it. So we'll monitor this. I do like that print down there, and then we'll just wait for PA to slowly start to turn around, and then hopefully we can get involved with that for the swing. But the VIX was up here earlier in the day. Oh, we got another super chat. They're flowing in today. TNON was kind to me this morning, hitting cash register. COCP now, bang, says KC526.
Get it, KC.
Let's take a look at TNON.
She's
I
an
love
OG.
the fact that, okay, so this is interesting. You guys trade a wide range of names. I've never even heard of this. Have you heard of Tenon Medical?
Yeah, man, I just finished talking about Joey. Let me cover it for her.
There you go. Go ahead.
All right, so let's do some TNON action over here. It's a great one, KC. Get it, Ob. So I like it. I just don't like that Christmas tree retracement. Quick as you like, we make highs. Quick as you like, we drop below VWAP. Now, it has all hope is not lost. You already printed on it, so you're already in the clear. For those who are looking maybe for entry, I'm liking what we're seeing lately. After this red candle here that broke below VWAP at 1035, the subsequent area lows have all been higher, Casey. But that volume weighted average price, which will always be the white line on my chart, still preventing us really from weaseling back above that area and starting to trend to the high side. So I need to see us decisively clear VWAP, close above VWAP on the 5-minute chart. And if I really wanted to be conservative, I would insist upon a $2 break and take, knowing that VWAP is at $1.80, $1.85, and then you have that psychological area of resistance not that far away at $2. So I would, I could certainly see myself getting in, in the high 80s, low 90s, and then maybe adding. If that $2 cleared decisively, you could think about that, but it's got to get above VWAP. If it doesn't get above VWAP, I'm just not going to get involved. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not saying that they're not tradable. So that's what my idea is there. I just want to let you guys know, LXCH, we took another quick print there at 75s. This one has been quite respectful of the vault. What are you doing up there? I don't want to hear you in my ear. Oh my God. That was a little disturbing.
I gotta find something.
She shut the show on us. She's such a bully. Adara, what's your girl doing over there?
We're going to talk some crypto for our crypto segment. And we're going to talk earnings. Earnings for crypto last night were not the best. Unfortunately, I'm not going to cover Riot platforms here, so sorry to anyone who was looking for those. I'm going to focus on the big ones, for lack of a better term, from last night, MSTR and Coinbase. Strategy, as it's now called, or MSTR, they reported, these earnings were clearly not well received by the market. Numbers themselves, though, were not necessarily bad. I want to talk about their Bitcoin highlights. As of late last year, I think they had under 500,000 Bitcoin. They've quickly accelerated because as of this report, they announced that they held 628,791 Bitcoin. Apparently their total cost as of, I guess, when this report was made, $46.07 billion. That also equates to $73,277 per Bitcoin. So very good average, I guess, compared to where the price is for Bitcoin. Now, we know that Michael Saylor, the chairman of MSTR, he's described Bitcoin as, and I quote, a swarm of cyber hornets. So I guess he's very pleased with how these cyber hornets are doing because, again, stock not doing great today, but company, these earnings seem to be not super concerning. What is concerning is what Coinbase reported. Coinbase actually looking like it's ready to break new days lows. This thing closed around 380s yesterday, today, trying to break 316. They did report net income of $1.43 billion versus, I guess, $36 million a year ago. So that is obviously up on a year-over-year basis. It was below estimates, and it's also notable because apparently these earnings included a $1.5 billion gain from their Circle investment. So without the Circle investment, they would actually be negative for that quarter. So not a great look here for COIN in terms of their earnings per share specifically. Bitcoin itself also not looking too good. We have actually, looks like we've already previously broken down from that support here that we made on Friday, July 25th, around that 114,000. The next potential obvious level of a bounce would be that previous all-time high at 112,000. And with that, we turn you back to the Bash Brothers.
Yeah. I got stopped.
Thank you for that very much.
Thank you, Adara.
Adara, yeah. So I mean, from a crypto standpoint, Adara was just talking about coin, some interesting stuff, and I mentioned obviously they made that deal with American Express, which is really intriguing, but also just the overall crypto transactions have been down slightly. So those came in a miss estimate.
Yeah. Those were decisive misses. There may be lofty expectations given what they had done and what some of their competitors had done, so you could make that argument. I'm going to cover micro strategies over here. It's kind of insane, some of the metrics that are being reported. We'll get to a lot more of this on the rundown. But guys, when you're printing $32.60 earnings per share, what the bad word? That's insane. We're talking single digits for most of these companies. That's not a typo.
Yeah. And
$32.60 a share.
Did you see the forward guide?
Of course I saw the forward guide. Man, it's fantastic. But the revenue, the revenue is jokes compared to the earnings per share. Because with $32.60 earnings per share, you'd think maybe they're making in the billions. Well, that's not how they make their money. We all know that. They're Bitcoin hodlers, Bitcoin hodlers. Their revenue is $114.5 million, which beat expectations. Not a bad look. It was a surprise driven up by a $14 billion unrealized gain on their Bitcoin holdings. Their full year 2025 guide, they're guiding $34 freaking billion in operating income, with $24 billion of that's going to actually be net income. That's take-home money. That's $80 a share in EPS, which is nuts. Before we go to Adara, I just want to let you know.
One last point though, but that's assuming that Bitcoin gets to 100.
It's all unrealized. Well said. No, but it's all unrealized gains.
Exactly.
That $14 billion is they didn't sell. We know that they didn't sell. They're holding, guys, 628,791 Bitcoin, worth around $73 billion. And as I mentioned yesterday with Katina on the show, their average price is like mid to high 70s a day.
MSOS on watch. Marijuana moment here, as usual, with the story. And I want to preface, this is a really odd story. So they reported here today that apparently the CEO of Scott's Miracle Grow, who goes by the name of James Hagedorn, was on Fox Business, and he said that apparently Trump has privately told him that he supports rescheduling marijuana multiple times. Now, again, unclear, if this happened, what the veracity of this is, and what impact it will actually have on the rescheduling of marijuana. But either way, MSOS did get a bit of a pop here on this marijuana moment report, suggesting that apparently Donald Trump privately told the CEO of Scott's Miracle Grow that he is interested in rescheduling marijuana. I do want to mention as well, because we just talked about crypto, I'm just seeing this headline come in. Unsure who's reporting this, but apparently $805 million have been liquidated from the crypto market in the past 24 hours. Back to you.
Dean, right now?
On
BTC?
Yeah, I think we're around that neck of the woods.
Are we at?
Yeah.
Where are we at? Let's have a look over here.
You gonna buy some more?
Not yet. We're 114,750, so we are lost 115. 115 is that support level we've been talking about, though. So we'll have to see where we close out at the end of the day, whether we catch a bid. And I don't really care if we close out 114.8, 114.9. To me, that's 115.
You have spot up there?
Spotify?
No, spot Bitcoin.
Yeah, of course, right there. I said 114.
The old chizzy.
What's that mean?
The chart.
Yeah. All right.
At the daily?
Yeah.
Okay, zoom into where we're currently, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, right there.
But you notice how it's just like we make these legs higher, consolidation, you do a little bit of a pullback. It's kind of been the same narrative for quite some time. Ever since the spot IBIT ETF, that's or the Bitcoin ETF, I've been noticing it quite a bit. So you make this leg higher, 20, 30%, whatever it is, then you go into a multi-month or a multi-week consolidation.
Yeah.
And I think we're in that exact same phase right now with a little bit of a dip below. And you can see the volume is slowly starting to stair-step down, which is positive. If you get buyers to step in, then yeah, maybe we can get 150 by the end of the year. But I think that's going to be a little bit of a push, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't
could
mind.
be so wrong.
I don't care about these retracements. I don't care whatsoever. I have no intention of selling, and I'm pretty high conviction about where this is going in the future. So I'm just going to take opportunities to add. And I don't even really look at this all that much every day like I used to. Lobo, guys, everybody's yelling LOBO, so let's cover that. We're gonna take off TNON. LOBO is coming from sub $1 territory, okay? So the low of the day is 48 pennies. The closing print yesterday is 36. This thing is up 189%. Excuse me, percent. Let's see if it's got the juice to clear $1, guys. Let's get involved over here and see what we can do with this one. We're going to take it long at 06s. Let's see what this one's got, man. We'll defend into $1. Obviously, it's not that expensive, so be careful with this one, though. They can turn on you in a second, and this one is already turning on me. Let's see if it holds that $1. I need to see it hold 95, though. The reason I say 95, area high over here where the closing prints couldn't weasel. Ideally, it holds $1, but I don't mind adding to 95. I think anything below that level is you're just asking for trouble. So LOBO 180% in the clear. Looking to go more, but these ones, guys, are around for a good time, not a long time. Trade them carefully. Give you some levels on this one. The 10 EMA on the 5, or sorry, that's the 1. Let me flip to the 5, excuse me. The 10 EMA on the 5 is south of 90 pennies. So this one, you know, whether or not it finds support at the 10 EMA, it's at 87, 88 pennies, something like that. Let's see what this one's got. It's already worked its way onto the side chart. We're going to keep an eye on this one, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing a nice recovery in some of the names. Tesla is starting to run higher. So I know Gaurav was long this. He said, I like this hammer candle right here. So that's going to give us a nice risk profile. Just in case we get any forms of rejection, that's going to also correlate with the pre-market highs as well too, guys. So just keep that in mind. I think there could be a good opportunity to get involved for a move back towards the volume weighted average price. Depends what the market wants to do as well too, right? So if we kind of want to rally and you see some of these big tech names start to continue to climb higher, maybe Tesla will start to participate. I mentioned how price was really starting to consolidate. What was our low here? Around 297. Let's take a look at the chain to see what chain gang, to see what we got cooking up. I don't know why it did that. There it is. So we'll see if we have any high levels of open interest around that 300 strike on the put side, right? That's what we want to keep an eye out for. So we'll pull that up here momentarily as I type it in and fidget around with my desktop on today's expiration cycle. Yeah, so there it is, guys. A beautiful, beautiful look. This is the beauty of using call and put walls within your trading. Do that.
What is happening here?
Okay, so here it is, guys. 320,000 open contracts, 305. You have a little bit there as well too. Lunchtime there. So I'm looking forward to that salmon. But anyways, 300, nice base. You get a little bit south of that, and now you can see that we're starting to pull back in towards that high of the day there on Tesla, Sharif.
I made 2 fat finger mistakes already today, man. Holy cow, I don't understand what is going on. I added substantially into open and to Lobo, and that was ridiculous. That's quite frustrating. Okay, so 2 mistakes today, guys. 2 mistakes. All right, no good, no good. All right, we got to slow it down over here. All right, let's keep an eye out on that. Low LOBO, I had to get out of that because I had a ridiculous amount of shares that I didn't actually mean to get into. So, yeah, it's two mistakes today, guys. So let's slow it down over here. Still keeping my eye on LXCH, looking for this bad boy to pop up above 80. We've been waiting there for a long time, but nothing doing there. Yes, LOBO headed right back down into that 90 penny area. I had to flatten out there, guys, because, well, we were getting trouble of getting shut down if we didn't take it there, Joey. So had to be careful with that one. Still having trouble clearing that whole dollar, though, so maybe not a bad out. ATEC is finding some support here at the volume-weighted average price, trying to pop back up into about $13.50 or $13.75 territory. It did find some support at the volume-weighted average price, and now it's at $13.60. So good look there. Keep in mind the high of the day is about $13.89. The downtrend feels like it's a little bit done there since this doji candle printed at $11.25, and now we have some higher highs and higher lows working back into that $3.75 area, guys. We're going with Dare.
Yeah, we have a bit of an interesting catalyst here. I'm not seeing you reporting this, but this story circulating here on X. Apparently, NVIDIA on watch. U.S. government apparently stalling and delaying some of the export license approvals for some chips and some other items here. Apparently, thousands of U.S. export license applications, including for China, have been stalled due to some apparently dysfunction at the Commerce Department's Export Bureau. The agency has delayed the new rules, cut off communication with the industry, and also lost some staff. One of the most high-profile delays would be NVIDIA's AI chip shipments to China. Now, we know that despite some controversy and disagreement at the House, we actually have approval from the Trump administration for these chip licenses, but apparently the actual license applications have been a bit stalled. NVIDIA does not seem to care about this catalyst continuing to push higher. Back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caravana weekend. Any plans? You going to the parade or anything, Sharif, or no?
I know. I might actually leave town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Keswick.
No. We're gonna probably head down south.
Oh, south.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Head to what's it called? It's a city in New York, Rochester.
Rochester.
Yeah, family in Rochester. Probably just go see some family.
Good hockey town there. And,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anyways, guys, that's what we got going on this weekend, Caravana weekend, for those who aren't familiar.
You heading?
Yeah, I'll go to the parade, usually.
Nice.
I remember when my cousin and I, we were about 17 years old when we started going on our own. And we sold water one year. And,
That's brilliant.
Well, no, not really, brother. We made like $2.
Oh,
we were trying to give it away for free after. It didn't work.
Nobody was buying water?
No one was buying the water, and it was hot. But as soon as we turned 19, we started selling beer down there. And
that probably a lot better.
Oh, sell, yeah. $5 a pop, man. You buy a couple cases for a couple $100, and then sure enough, you double your money.
That's easy.
And then you go and spend it at the club after.
That's okay. Well, it's a free night at the club then.
That's exactly
right?
what it is, right? So
Okay.
There. Anyways, enough of that talk. AMD looking pretty good here, guys, as well, too. So you can see it's starting to approach through that high of the day, big time gap down. Even though you do have this wick, you can see with this previous high of the day, it filled the majority of it. So let's see if this momentum is going to sustain and you break through some of these pivots here. So stair step higher, volume starting to kick in as well, too. So just keep that in mind. Guys, with AMD. Robinhood is just going absolutely parabolic right now. This thing has not looked back whatsoever since it's breached the volume-weighted average price. So you get a little bit of liquidity grabs. As soon as you punch through these pre-market zones, you can see what was once resistance is now acting as support. Consolidate, boom, you punch through those 100s, and this resistance zone that I was referring to, it said, no, that doesn't matter. We got enough momentum and enough demand north of these key $100 levels to continue to climb higher. So that's what we're looking at. Mara, yeah, I know Riot reported last night. Reported last night too. So there's Riot, as you can see, it's approaching view up, but a nice hammer candle at the lows. I won't be trading this name. We'll take a look at Mara as well too, just in case, to see what we got cooking up with this one. For some reason, my platform, it does never want to pull up Mara. I don't know if you.
Oh, all the time. I have issues with that as well. You're talking about IB, right? Yes.
Which is weird, but there it is. Nice bull flag pattern here, guys. Higher lows. Flat top, boom, you punch in, the volume kind of kicks in there a little bit. So not too bad of a look on Mara.
Absolutely, Joey. All right, we're back in Lobo over here with the appropriate amount of shares. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in myself because now we gave back a lot. Well, no, we gave back some of the money we made yesterday. That was just a mistake on my part. I don't know how I could make that mistake 2 days in a row or 2 times in a row on the same day, punching ridiculous size. So yeah. It is what it is, but Lobo as a trade, it's still valid. We got higher lows. You're still holding the 10 EMA on the 5. Obviously, you still have to deal with the $1 resistance area, which we are. We're finding a lot of resistance, 102, 103. Let's see if we can spike up, maybe take out that 107 area high. But at the moment, you can see that seller's moving down incrementally. It was a 103 seller, then a 102 seller. So we'll get out of this one flat for the remaining amount. Oh, actually, we'll take out some there at 102. So not bad. I'll pack my patience. If this one can clear 107, we'll get back involved. I just don't want to be dealing with that $1 issue that we got to deal with. All right, let's talk about VTech as well. ATEC, ATEC. I think this one's on the NQ, not a bad spread. 4 pennies, still putting in higher highs and higher lows. That's the pull back into the volume weighted average price. So I perceive this as bull flag. Whether or not we can break through this area high at 1390 and be on our way for another formation of the second bull flag, we'll have to wait and see. This thing's up 30%. It is a very small cap. No, that's not the one. I'm looking at the wrong one. Give me a second here. ATEC, ATEC. Why would it be on my scanner? ATEC, let's see what the market cap on this is, 2 billion. That's why I felt like it wasn't a small cap gapper. So this is a $2 billion market cap, about 7.33 million shares traded on the day. And it's got a float of 11.75. So that's not that bad. 11.75% on this name certainly could be something we can work with over here. So let's see where we can get in on ATEC. I'm thinking the 10 EMA on the 5. It would be a good pullback area, but it hasn't worked its way down there lately. So I'm not really sure how to execute on this right now. I think I'm going to pack my patience on ATEC, maybe wait at for a 60 drop. Let's see where the prior bar low is. Prior bar low is at 58. I can wait at 65. Let's go ahead and do that. Pack my patience here at 65. Let's post there, see if we can work into something off that one. Let's go back over here to see what the other one is doing. LXCH, still nothing on that one. Still zigging and zagging. People were saying AKAN is making moves as well. Let's load up that one. AKAN, about 35% clear on the day. Let's flip to the 5. That's a daily on that, guys. Let's flip to the 5-minute candle. Yeah, so you have a big move into that 171, but right back down below VWAP. This one just started moving at 11:30. Does it have a headline? What is this? Oh, this is probably the company, Canadian Farming Property in British Columbia. What are they going to do? THC. Ah, that's why. Okay, so this is moving based on the headline that Adair brought us. Trump privately committed to rescheduling marijuana multiple times since taking office. The CEO says, I guess, of Marijuana Moment. It is Marijuana Moment right there.
It wasn't the CEO of Marijuana Moment that said it. It was the CEO of Scott's Miracle Grow. But yeah, Marijuana Moment did publish it. Also, again, it's kind of weird because this is just one man saying this.
Yeah, the title doesn't say that. That's why I wasn't able to discern that. Trump private, yeah, so let's, that's the article over here for Marijuana Moment. Okay, so we'll keep tabs on that. So it looks like it's moving as a result of that, but it's still below VWAP though at around 150, 151. Yeah, it's gonna have to settle down for me to get involved. Otherwise, it's just below VWAP right now, Joey.
Yeah, good look there. All right, so I posted up an order for a potential Tesla short here, just because you can see that the market ran into that previous pivot high, starting to turn around. And then sure enough, you can see that we're getting this inverted hammer candle right here on Tesla. So we have our risk profile defined, whether we're right or wrong, that's essentially irrelevant. You got to take these trades. So if this 5-minute hammer closes like this, I do like my chances. Stop a little bit above those highs. If it starts to work out really well, we'll continuously add into this and try to get that move back towards the volume weighted average price. All right, so just that's what we got cooking up. AMD is moving the other way though. So that's a positive sign, breaking through this key pivot. which is the high of the day. So there's that. Gorev, man. Gorev, you suckered me into trading some Tesla there, brother, as I was taking a look at it there. Because I haven't been trading it for some time, just considering that I feel that it hasn't been in play. And with the Elon and company, he's got too much going on. So yeah, there it is. You can see 1068 we're short at. Potential add, but there is this pivot that can act as support, and we may bounce off of that. But risk profile, strictly defined. We're only going to give this one with 70, about 10, 12 cents on this trade here, and look for that move back to 35. So a 30 to 40 cent move on this one. So it's starting to work out. I'll slowly add into this position just so we can build it up and try to make it as large as we possibly can. So we'll post up another order right there just in case we get that breath and we get that move to the downside, but something working out pretty good for us right now, Sharif.
All right, man. All right. Now I've got nothing new. So yeah, I don't have anything new. Just post whatever you guys want in the chat. We'll have a look at it for you. It looks like we just got into ATEC there. So let's have a look at that. ATEC just got in on the pullback. Let's see, this is preceded by a doji candle and would also be a lower high. So we've got to be super careful with this one. Number one, because it's spready. Number two, it's a lower high. If it loses the 10, I'm out. It does have support though at the 20, but I'm not willing to give this to the 20 just because I didn't trade that well on the day, and I've got to be careful with the shutdown. So the 20 is at 42. I'm talking about the 20 exponential on the 5, and the 10 is at 55. Anything below 55s, we're out. Okay, so we're gonna have to trade really tight today. Sorry, you won't be able to give these ones room, so that's kind of the situation we're in at the moment. So let's go ahead and put some scalp plays to the high side on this one. So if we can get something possibly in the mid 70s, that would just be golden. It's popping back up a little bit, not great or anything like that, but we'll layer the orders on that bad boy. What else we got over here? Still in LOB. Oh, I still like the higher low situation. Going to trade with small shares on this one as well. And then LXCH is going to be the same thing, guys. So nothing new to update you on. I'm not going to trade Figma, Hiram Patel, and please don't spam the chat.
It's already too late.
Okay. Yeah. So he's I guess he's out there?
Yeah, he's gone.
All right. All right, there we go. So can I look at Uber long? Nick, you know I don't trade these large caps, brother. That's going to have to be for Joey. I'm just going to focus on these small caps for now, though.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you can see we caught that ad right here on Tesla, guys. Risk still the same, about 12 cents or so. How much did I add right there? What is it, about 40%? Yeah, exactly that. So not quite a double up there, but we'll add a little bit to this position just in case it really wants to start working. So I do have a feeling now, considering we're not just breaking down pretty quick, is that we get a retest. As long as we don't breach it and head into my stop loss, then I think there's going to be another add opportunity, considering I'm at 1.5 risk right now. So yeah, anywhere in this realm, we'll add a little bit more just in case it does that pullback and then slowly starts to curl back over. So, ooh, a big pop right there in the market. So maybe some news or something supporting this. Keep an eye on the volume profile, right? So as we're starting to push, volume's starting to slowly cool down. So that's something positive that I have going in my favor. But again, 1080 is my stop on this. If we take a loss, then it is what it is, right? So either way is fine. Hello, Joe. I love the show. Oh, GT. Yeah, exactly. So, so yeah, that's what we got cooking up. My eyes are across the market. NVDA is climbing higher, so that's not the best for a short in the tech. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe it's just in this instance we can say a rising tide lifts all boats. But yeah, I don't know. Jose Villa, Joe Pillow Hands is crazy, my friend. Yeah, I don't know about that, but sure, we can go whatever floats your boat as well. that works for you. NVDA looking pretty good. Someone asked me to take a look at Meta, so we'll take a gander at that here.
Okay.
Zuck, my guy.
Got it, Zuck.
Yeah, so selling off. See, the thing is, though, you're continuously consolidating, so that's not too bad. We'll zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. You do get this massive gap up here, and now you're starting to fill the likes of that gap, but take a look at Microsoft, right? So you get that massive gap up, and then now about 70 to probably 80% of it has filled, considering where you open up, and then sure enough, boom, 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 you get this continuous selling. So I would look for a continuous move to the downside in Microsoft, and you can just see, right? Just look at the expansion within in these candles. It's just the volatility is drastically increased, and with that, the average true range of these stocks start to increase as well too. So once that's filled, watch out for a crack of this trend line because things can get hectic real quick, Sharif.
Lobo's going buck wild, Joe. It just took out all my orders to the high side. Here it goes again. It's going to halt to the high side, guys. Okay, false halt at 115. We'll wet the beak there, though. Here we go again, right into the 16s. Now we're seeing false halt, possible halt here at 16, guys. LOBO, we got shares on this one. Here we go. We're going to halt at 15s. What are we in? We're in at 95s. It's got to do this for a few more seconds. We already got one false halt. There's the gray out. We're halted to the high side finally here on LOBO. Goodness gracious. Oh, yeah, this is the one that I added like a dumbass into this area over here. And then I had to stop out. I knew that it wasn't the wrong trade, though, Joey. That's the thing. I just had to flatten out because it was just prohibitive.
It came against you quick?
No, I had way too many shares, right? So then if it had lost that area, I would have got shut down. So I was like, no, I'll flatten out, even though I did like the trade. And so I got back in, obviously, with smaller share size. So yeah, we're halted to the high side here at 115 on LOBO. Be careful with this one. Yep. It is now up 219.8% on the day. The theoretical auction price, the top showing 115. Is this a New York stock? No, it's a Nasdaq stock. So right now we're basically halted at the exact same price that we closed out at, that we halted at. So that's what we'll keep an eye on there. But now we got to focus on ATEC. ATEC is anything below that $0.50 we said. We're Gonzino. We're in at 65. It's showing 60s to me. It's still generally at the 10 EMA. It's a 3-candle pullback. If this current candle ends up closing red, which it just opened at 55. It is now 56. ATEC is the one I'm talking about. I'm looking for another move up and a possible clearing here of that high day at 89s, and then maybe even a 14 touch. So we'll see if we can get a higher low. Ideally, guys, if I had been trading this on a regular day where I hadn't made a lot of mistakes, I would be giving this to prior area low. So for example, if I had punched in here, which I did at 65, I would realistically give this to 20s. In fact, I'd be adding into that 30s, 40s, and then if it lost 20, I'd be out. Because I know that, well, then the trend is gone. But I won't be able to do that today because we're going to have to be a bit more tight on risk. So we'll keep an eye out on this one and whether or not it continues to trend to the high side. So that's the one there. And then I just want to remind you guys, LOBO, to look at always your time and sales, a little trick to see when the last print that came in on the time and sales. So that one is 11:55:09. So just by adding 5 minutes onto that, we know that the first opening print will be 12 on the dot 09. So that could be the first opening. Could be longer, right? Because these halt levels come in waves of 5. These volatility halts, not news pending halts. They're different. So that's it, Joey. We're involved in 3 names. Let's see how they do.
Yeah, good luck there, brother. Yeah, let's take a look at Reddit. Some people are talking about this. Right? A great report. Great stuff from RDDT. Diamond Dollars. Or I don't know. That's it.
Get it, Diamond.
DDP. That's the DDP is Triple H's move, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. All right, so there it is.
That's
so
okay.
Bang, we know our wrestling maybe a
Get
little
it,
bit.
Joey.
Anyways, so there it is, guys. Break through the volume weighted average price and just this continuous move to the top side. Now you're consolidating. I would not be surprised if this consolidation is going to lead towards a move to that $200 target, right? So that's a big time. Well, maybe not actually, but you can see just the ATR in this first little bit of the stock was just crazy. So that was a 2-point loss, 2.5 point roughly there. So keep that in mind. But this consolidation is promising for that additional leg higher. You obviously want to get in at the lower end of the range and then have the ability to just kind of scalp the top end of the range. And if you do have if you are on the right side and it does break, then you're going to be sitting on some pretty pennies. So yeah, good look there in RDDT. We can take a look at it from a daily perspective as well too. And also to note, the longer it takes Tesla to break down, the less I like it. We like trades to work relatively quick. If they don't, you got to start. And I don't know. This is me personally. I start to question the thesis, right? It can continue to rip higher, and just kind of how it's been acting right now is that when we sell off, it doesn't want to continue. people are stepping right back in, moving the stock higher and higher. All right. So as soon as we break that 75, we'll go to 8. We'll give it to just below 80, so 78s maybe, which is 10 cents exactly. Then we'll just hop out of that trade. But what was I about to hop onto?
What were you gonna do?
Reddit. We're gonna take a look at this one. So there it is, a big time move. And if we talk about our April lows, let's take a percentage metric. This thing has doubled, right? 140%. And we're still a bit off of those previous ATHs as well. So just keep that in mind. I think there's a lot of room for this to grow. And I'm not going to compare it to Robinhood or anything like that, but some of these growth numbers are fantastic in Reddit. For sure, guys. All right, so that's what we got cooking up. Come to Poppy right here. Yeah, come on, but give me VWAP. Don't rip any higher. But if it wants to go, it'll go. It's been weak for quite some time, so I wouldn't be surprised. Anything can happen with Tesla, and this is starting to form like a bull flag type pattern, in my opinion. So just I got to be really cautious. One thing to note is that there is some lower highs on these 5-minute prints. So unless this continuously fails, then I think that we might have the ability to break up through there. But right now, it's looking pretty good. Slightly ITM on this one. So yeah, that's what we got cooking up. VWAP is the primary target, but I think it's going to be a struggle to get there, Sharif.
All right, Lobo's open, guys. We took the print there into that high of the day at 125. We got 95s on right now. It's zigging and zagging at 18, a little 17, a little 18. It is open. It did gap up. But it did fill the, what's it called, the halt gap there, the intraday halt gap that we always talk about as a possible area of support and resistance. We'll see if this one's got the juice to continue to the high side, but it is catching a bit of a sell now, back down into 112s, 113 or so, so a red candle. Let's see if this one halts down. That's not ideal for me, so we'll wet the beak there at 11s just to de-risk a little bit. But there it goes right back up into the 120s again. So the buying stepping in right there. Oh baby, here's that 122. We're waiting at 27s, 22 showing up again. Now you can clearly see the seller there at 122. On LOBO. I'm just flipping to the 5-second chart on my top screen so I can kind of gauge where the areas of support and resistance are. So we are putting in lower highs, and there was a very staunchy buyer at 111. So their buyer at 111 there was basically one of the only reasons we stayed up. But when I look at the micro trend, we are putting in lower highs with a 125 high, a 122 high, a 120 high, and now we're kind of dropping down into 17s. So the lower highs are what's operative right now on LOBO, despite the fact that we're nicely up on the day. Back into 20s, we're getting selling at lower and lower and lower levels on every successive pop. So be on the lookout for that. Holy, it's so loud. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Lower highs. This is kind of what I'm seeing over here, so you can guys follow along. So you can see on the 5-second chart over here, lower highs means that sellers are shorting, taking profit at lower and lower levels. That means they're in control for the moment. Let's see if we can break that trend. Up into 120 we go. Can we get a little bit higher than 22s? We already know that seller at 22 was preventing us. We have a double top there. Well, only lasted about 10 seconds, but that's what this kind of trading is. It's super micro. So keep your eye on this. Now we're selling at 20s. So seller at 21 now. Can we shake the seller at 21? We're at the 22 seller again. And again, we reject that level. The 22 seller is really what's keeping us down now. That's a second attempt at 22 that we couldn't clear. There's your first attempt right over here. The second attempt right over here. Here we go again with 22. Can we clear the 22 seller? We can't clear the 22 seller. Look at this. Can't shake him. So yeah, he's preventing us from ascending at the moment. So either he gets squeezed or we drop down. It's gonna either be one or the other. So let's see exactly who ends up blinking first. The seller at 22 though is staunchy and new. I can tell you that for a fact because I have a 25 print right there. So that seller wasn't there until maybe like a few minutes ago. So yeah, that's basically all I got on that one. LOBO is really the only one I'm focusing on right now. It's the one that's got all the hype behind it, up at 230%. Joey?
Yeah, good look there. So yeah, I think we will get stopped out here, Gorb. And this is what I was mentioning earlier on the 5-minute. It's just that you can see that we are just forming this kind of this bull flag type pattern, and now it's going to blow through this signal right here. Again, the volume was somewhat supporting it, so I think it will turn around. It just may take some time because it looks like the market
wants to... He's dead. He got killed.
Who did?
The 22 seller.
Oh, the 20. Oh, he's done.
I tried to tell him.
I tried to tell him. Yeah, we tried to warn you, my friend. Unfortunately, you didn't get the message fast enough. And then, sure enough, you didn't. You
Joey's so anticlimactic.
Why?
You're like, we tried.
We tried, man. We tried, man. We can only try so much, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So, but what's drinking all my stuff up right now is Tesla as it continues to move higher. So we're not going to give this too much more room. Another couple pennies, which I think we're going to get here momentarily. And that's the thing, right? I tried a couple shorts, one on NVDA, and it's just like, why am I shorting probably the strongest name on the planet? But anyways, there's going to be good opportunities. I'll hit the pedigree on you through a table, says Jose Villa. Okay. You just called me soft hands earlier, pillow hands earlier.
What's going on with this guy, bro? Does he want to catch hands?
Apparently he doesn't like me. He used to call me pillow hands and that he's going to pedigree me through a table.
He's going to pedigree you.
Yeah.
Send him the address.
Hey man, I'll drop the location at any given moment.
Nah, don't do that. Joey's ready. Joseph is always ready to throw hands, bro.
I don't like it, but we can have a little bit of fun, man. If you like to, what is
I like that.
what's that term that Kendrick would use?
What's that term?
Squabble up.
Squabble up,
man.
Squabble up.
Squabble up, man. Squabble up.
We're gonna halt. We're gonna halt.
We're gonna halt. Go take it over.
Let me see, Joey. So we did this before. So here we go. Let's see. No, it won't. We're gonna halt up. It won't sell. Yeah, I can't get out. So that's okay. There we go. So now we're caught in a down halt, but we're still in the money. That's the thing. Out of the majority of the shares, but still down substantially on it. I'm talking about LOBO because of what I did over here, right? We added substantially, but made some back with this move. We are now caught in a down halt. Luckily for me, though, the down halt is right at the 10 EMA. So let's see if we can hold this 10 EMA. The tap's showing me about 98 pennies so far. We've got 95, so we'll keep taps on that. Also, I'm a little disappointed with how I executed on ATEC. You never want to get bottom wick, but I mean, I just have to be super tight with my risk today, given what I've done. But ATEC, if it can clear, I want to say that 77 area, I'll give this one another opportunity because it's got another higher low now. We were worried about the lower highs on ATEC, but now you're getting higher lows. So that kind of changes the equation a little bit. Looks like that 20 suit seller has the last laugh. How, though? I'm out of most of my shares. I'm the one who's laughing, but thank you for rooting against me. Now we kind of know what kind of person you are.
Yeah, who was it?
I don't even care. Rook. And Joe TV, new 3D Dudley boys. That would be so sick. That would be so sick.
I've seen that. I mean, man, I forgot about those guys, man.
I love those guys, man. I remember that little guy that they brought with them everywhere?
Yeah.
So
That's funny, man.
What happened to TTV arm wrestling? I don't think we ever agreed to arm wrestle.
Yeah,
what I think we're gonna do is do the push-up competition. But now we got to add some more into that.
Context, yeah.
So it has to be more all-encompassing, right? If you're just doing push-ups, it's your tricep, shoulder, and chest strength. But that's not what your entire body's made out of. You're made out of so much more.
Legs.
So we gotta diversify. Speaking of legs, Joey. Oh, do we have to go to Adara?
I never got any Adara.
Are we going to Adara?
I never got that.
We are. I totally forgot about that. I'm so sorry, guys. We are going to Adara. It's happening now. The Neil's lesson of the day.
This is actually a great bounce here for the the SPY in the 15-minute chart. We are, though, struggling a little bit at 625. 625 was that pre-market resistance. So this support. So it could be interesting to see if the support flips to resistance. We'll have to wait and see. Here's the Nasdaq, the QQQs looking pretty similar, making a decisive higher low, and right now struggling with that pre-market support. If we break pre-market support, could we push to the upside? We'll have to wait and find out. Tons of names are on watch this morning. Not all of them did necessarily what we expected them to do. Here's Figma. Figma was yesterday's IPO darling, and today it has been pretty choppy to say the least. We dropped at the open. We've been consolidating for quite a while. Apple was on watch, actually looking like one of the stronger earnings plays post-market until it opened and tanked. Then we have AMZN also on watch here at earnings day one. Amazon actually bounced at the open, now dropping back to this pre-market and intraday lows. And last but not least, we'll take a look here at some of these crypto-related earnings plays. Coinbase and MST are both trying to bounce a bit off of their lows, looking pretty similar to the Nasdaq or the SPY. Long story short, these earnings were not well received, but it's time to talk here about our Jimmy Carter picks. because Sean and Neil are by far the only people who are really green here. I'm going to just preface it with that. Great look here for Palantir and Coinbase. I would like to also clarify, as I've said before, I do these at the end of the day on the last day of the month, so this does not factor in Coinbase earnings, nor does it factor in UNH's most recent tank, but that doesn't matter because my UNH pick was always going to be the worst pick by far of all of these. We're down more than 50% on this, but Bitcoin, nice boost for anyone who had Bitcoin, and then GEV, actually Neil's best stocked in this group, so good look. Oh, I guess I don't have the other one. Thought I had the other one set up as well. Either way, the returns, they're all an X at TTV Research. As a group, we're up on the year. I am down, Sharif is down, Joe is down. Back to you. And Neil and his lesson of the day.
Dara. So the lesson of the day is I was told by Obi, punch in next time. That's what you got to do. Well, it is true. So if you ever hear a trader say punch in, like there's nothing physical about it. It's just what I mean is you remove liquidity to get into position instead of adding liquidity to get to position. So instead of waiting on the bid or the ask, you remove liquidity from the bid or the ask. Now, I'm not one to make excuses, but I am one to explain when I make a bit of a mistake. Now, first I'm going to set the table as to what happened in Fig, because ultimately I missed an entry on Fig that was a $5 winner. And it's how I missed it that kind of was silly. I was looking at this trend line break, and when it broke the trend line, there's a bit of a topping tail candle in a VWAP, and there is your trend line break. Now, ultimately, I'm trying to get in here passively, right about 124-ish, when I could have hit like 123.5, let's just say. So I could have spent 50 cents to get into the position instead of waiting in front of the 124. Which is what I was doing. But I didn't want to chase it. When the bid dropped, I didn't want to chase it and then punch 122, which is another dollar down. Here's the thing. While that's what happened as I was talking to you, there's another layer of that. I have a really bad habit since we started this show of if I haven't talked about the entry before, I start talking about it in the moment that it's happening. And when I started talking about it, and I told this to Obi, when I started talking about it, the bid was still there. So, and I know it's like, well, I started explaining what I'm about to do, and you get into that habit of explaining it, and I'm about to hit the bid. But the moment to hit the bid was pretty much as I was yapping, and I missed that opportunity. And similar thing could be happening on Robinhood with a bit of a trend break right now, but anyways, we'll get there in a second. So at the end of the day, that's a case where if I'm looking for an entry, this is not long Neo 501 and for $5. This is short to 125 with an entry somewhere between 123.5 to 124, call it half. I want an entry within that dollar range, so it's got to be viable to just hit the bid when the spread's 25, 30 cents. It's viable in that situation. This is not one of those where you want to be picky about it because once it goes, it goes. It's kind of like, I'm sure this is something Adair knows with spready tickers. But ultimately, you can have a habit of getting filled when you put orders in and then have to be able to switch your execution strategy based on the type of stock. And if you get accustomed to trading things like maybe Tesla or Apple or in something like an Intel, whatever, Neo, whatever it might be, a situation where you see that move happen, the spread is 1 or 2 cents, it's easy to get in, you can get half prints most of the time, and then you end up switching to something like a Figma, which is a bit different. You've got to mentally check that box of, I can't just sit here passively on the offer waiting to get picked up. I got to be a little bit more aggressive. And so what you can do is have stocks in liquidity buckets. This stock has X liquidity, a bit more aggressive. Maybe use an offset key where when I go to cross, it's crossing 15 or 20 cents as opposed to just crossing the spread, right? Like little adjustments that you can make. And these stocks go with an offset key and these ones I don't have to have that. And that can be a process to make sure you get your execution. Because I didn't really have any other great opportunities on Figma. I had one long that went a couple bucks, and then I had one short that could have given me $5. And I wanted Figma to be my best stock today, but it wasn't because I missed the fill. So whether you just get more aggressive mentally, whether you use maybe an offset so you cross the book a little bit more, it doesn't matter. You've got to trade a stock with a different type of liquidity differently for your entry strategy. And I know for myself, it can be a bit of a failing because you get adjusted to tight spread symbols. And that wasn't the case with Figma, and it's something that I should have adjusted to, and that's why it's your lesson of the day. Not every stock is created the same, and you've got to have an execution strategy which reflects it. So good luck, everybody out there. Robinhood's a beast. I cannot believe I got a Robinhood at like 102.50, and it went to 104. I'm always out too early, though, so that's normal. Good luck, everybody.
Tesla dropping a little bit here. I'm just seeing this circulating now, though it's unclear if this was previously reported. But Tesla's car registrations in Portugal down 48.5% on a year-over-year basis. That is a 48.5% decline. That's according to data from ACAP. Apparently, Portugal's overall new fully electric vehicle registrations were up 9.5%. So 9.5% increase for other EVs for Portugal year-over-year. 48.5% decrease for Tesla EVs. Back to you.
Good stuff. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
What's the most important day of the week?
Leg.
Bro, come on, man. You're killing me here, bro. Why you do that? You gotta
I was
entertain
being
me.
serious though. You ever see that one meme where it's like, "Oh, it's your birthday today. What are you and your friends hitting?" Guys like back.
Back? Yeah, back's
Well,
important.
yeah, very important.
But you can do that every day.
You can do back every day. Show them what you got going on, Quadster. Those are
So this
those
is
are 4-inch, buddy. Come on. No,
I got those in
they're
my bag right there, my boy.
Look at the Quadzilla here.
Why isn't it removing that? There we go.
Make sure there's no
All right,
music
so
in the background.
what weight is that there, Joey?
235.
235?
Yeah.
Try 315. All right? And we're going to smash 315 for reps.
For reps, bro.
For reps.
All right.
All right? So all you idiots in the chat talking about my legs, shh.
Yeah, be quiet, man. That's what you don't want to. Yeah, this guy is monstrous, man. Hey, it's over.
I got more, bro.
You got more.
You want to see 4 on the bar?
Sure. I don't believe it until I see it. You need the evidence, brother.
I don't even know what my max is. We don't need to know the max.
Power.
You want to see 4 on the bar?
Let's go Tesla. Yeah, bro. I want to see it all, brother.
It's coming.
Send it. What? Who said that? Adara. Adara, did you say that? Yeah, Adara. Come on now.
What'd she say?
Come on. I'm like, I want to see it all. And she's like, ew.
Oh.
Adara. Come on.
I didn't want to hear that, bro. Take it over. What's Tesla doing? Like, I'm gonna load up 4 plates here, baby.
Let's go. This is what I want to see. You want to see it all. This is where we added to our Tesla once again. So yeah, we're gonna hold. I got to keep an eye out for some resistance, actually, some support. So maybe this could be a target right around the 52 level.
So many dumbasses.
Yeah.
I love it.
You guys are funny, man.
Absolutely,
funny. Adara said, ew. Yeah, you guys cracked me up.
I think that was Ram, man. Stop
no, Ram's not
blame
even here.
Adara.
He's not even here. It was definitely.
Was that you, Adara?
You're not chiming in. Pardon? You got
Okay, are we doing Beta Pro? Exactly, bro. Adara doesn't do that. All right, 40 seconds, no problem.
40 seconds. All right.
What do you got, Joey?
Yeah, we got a little move here. We're still sitting in this. And this is what I mentioned before, right? You get that curl over and then you started to reject these levels right here. So just keep an eye out on that. Oh, this is worst case scenario too. This is not what I wanted to see, is this hammer candle right at some of these key levels. So yeah, I think this trade's gonna be done as it starts to curl over. I'll be as patient as I can holding on to this. Still gonna give it about 10 cents or so, Sharif.
Get it, Joe. All right, I'm still waiting over here for a print into 33. So Lobo, we didn't actually get stopped out, even though this halted down. As I told you guys, it halted into the 10 EMA. Ends up holding the 10 EMA, so we scalp into 05s, we scalp into 15s, and now I'm holding a piece for the dream into 33, so we'll keep an eye on that. But guess what? Savvy Canadian traders, listen up. If you're looking to boost your exposure, you can now tap into the Nasdaq 100, S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs. featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders, ready to take on the market. So read the full disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Shout out to Beta Pro. Joseph, let's have a look over here at what we're doing with LOBO. I'm still holding a piece, guys, by the way, in LXEH, but this one a lot slower of a mover. It looks like, though, it might actually take out 75s. That's really kind of been the area top, even though we've wicked into 90. That was super fleeting and did not last. So I'm packing my patience here for a move into that 133 area. That's where I've posted next. On LOBO, I could certainly be persuaded to add. I was actually about to add right here. Then I said, you know, what if this gives up the dollar and it's a double top? And so that kind of talked myself out of the equation with that, but we'll keep tabs on that one. If it is warranted to add, I will add. Otherwise, it's really the LXEH show and LOBO. I'm not really liking any other small cap gappers, save and except for ATEC, which I didn't execute well on, and is actually finding resistance at the same area where I went the beak last time. So I don't feel awfully bad about getting out there. But look at this. There we go. We got a spike up on LXEH into 78. Now we're showing 78 on the ask and 74 on the bid. It is showing me 78s now, but it didn't close there. I'm waiting at 80, 84s, and then 88. So we still have more shares on top of that as well. So if we get all three of those printed, we'll be able to take some possibly above that 290 high. I'm front running that 290 high, but having a resting order at 288s. So that's what I'm thinking right now, guys. Really packing my patience for both these trades. I still see Lobo as a breakout candidate here above that $1.25. If we can get some continuity, we still have a lot of higher lows on essentially every successive candle. So if we can get that look, I'm all game. But for now, I'm just going to pack my patience, Joey.
Yes, absolutely. Same here, too. But this is what I talked about. This was the worst case scenario, right? And then sure enough, you can see we're starting to climb higher and the market is just grinding. But this is not what we wanted to see here. So, yeah. As soon as I seen that, I was just like, yeah, no, that's not good, especially what you want to see south of some key support levels. You want to see that candle more along the volume-weighted average price. So we'll keep an eye out on what we got going with Tesla. I'm still giving it the same risk profile regardless of what it is. So maybe this is just going to be a nice, cool rebound. So coming back in, that's positive. We need to snap this in order to get that move possibly to the support level. And then that's when we're going to start piecing some out slowly, all right? So that's the primary target. I told you, 10 cents of risk, right? And we're trying to hit a 3 or 4 to 1 on this trade. So 30, 40 cents is going to be when we start piecing it out. But we have to get there first before we start
Get there, baby.
profit. So yeah, what are we about? Only a couple pennies right now. So there it is. Primary target VWAP 1040. Anything south of that is going to be bonus money. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Obi, you going to Caravana this weekend? I never asked you. It is this weekend, my friend. It's always this weekend, man. Always the first week of August there. So, yeah. So yeah, we'll take a look at that one and see what we got going on. Just a couple cool other events going out in the city throughout the week too. So we'll see what that's cooking up. But come on, Tesla, don't do this to your boy. Just sell off. We know that you're a fan favorite and all, but you can sell a little bit here for Joey O's. So yeah, there it is. Other than that, NVDA is starting to pull back off those highs. So that short's starting to work out. You can see you have this hammer candle, guys, and this is what we're looking for, right? So when we look to short things, you obviously want to keep an eye on the time of sales and what the L2 is telling you, but more or less price action will tell you a lot. So you get this nice move up, you get that inverted candle, and then sure enough, you get this move. You don't get it quite back towards the volume-weighted average price, but here you can see the selling pressure step right back in here. So that's something positive. As long as these big names start to sell, I think we can get a move back into Tesla. It just takes a long time sometimes. It's just a grind, phase everyone out, liquidity grab, all those tight stops, and then you can eventually make that move lower. But as long as we can construct a lower high, I do like my chances. And who knows, we can even add a little bit more to this trade streak because we have plenty of risk and we're just slightly green on the day. So I'm willing to put on some shares if we have the opportunity.
You had me at lower high, bro. As soon as you started saying those words, then I was like right away.
Bang.
All right, Joey, we're still getting some selling here. LXCH in the high 70s. It did weasel up to 78s, but as you can see, it's putting in a red candle now. So that staunchy seller in the high 70s preventing us from ascending and continue to prevent us from ascending. So we shall pack said patience on that one. In the same exact way, I'm packing said patience on LOBO. Again, all I'm seeing on Lobo is support wicks off the 10 EMA on the 5. This is kind of this is what's keeping me in the trade, really. Every time we dip into that green line, we do find some support. Now, it doesn't automatically translate into a high day break. These things have a way of stair-stepping up. So we'll keep tabs on that one. It is a 127 high. We were caught in a down halt on this one, but thankfully the down halt was, what's Neil chuckling at? What? Oh. The down halt was ahead of our level. We're in at 95. So what are you guys laughing at? Let me read this.
You gotta read it.
Shout out to Charlie.
Charlie's a troll, trust me.
Sharif, may your legs be blessed with the strength of 100 flamingos and $10 towards an apple pie for Joseph. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm going golfing. Yes, though, my man. What happened?
Charlie Taft will troll you. He'd be like, you suck, essentially, and then be like, hey, man, what do you think of this?
You just got to be a good sport about it.
Exactly. So
like,
Charlie,
if you troll us in a nice way, we're gonna show you love back.
Charlie and I have a love-hate relationship.
Love-hate, eh?
Yeah. He's either picking on me or asking me what I think about a specific stock. So, it's funny.
Shout out to Charlie,
so that's why he doesn't get timed out anymore. So I know Charlie's.
I found that 4-plate video, by the way.
Did you?
I don't want to hurt
anybody's feelings. When did you film it though?
3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't hit that way since that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't train for that anymore.
No,
but,
man.
Given that 3 plates felt light, I'm assuming that at least 1 or 2 of 4, no problem.
Light work.
Yeah, it was light. It was light.
All right then.
I did 10 sets of that.
Yeah.
10 sets of 6 to 7 reps.
Bang.
Yeah. No, it's good these days. I think certainly the creatine is helping because I'm smashing.
Absolutely. I'm telling you,
smashing
brother.
10 grams a day, right?
Yeah.
It is certainly helping.
You're smashing 10 grams a day.
I told you that. You know that.
Wow.
I'm taking 5 in the morning
with
the workout in the morning, and then another 5 at night. So,
wow.
Yeah, 10 grams, Mike. 10 grams. I split it twice a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and I take BCAAs once a day with my late workout, not the morning workout. And then I do smash a protein shake as well after the morning workout. That's the only protein shake I have basically all day. You only need 5 grams. I've heard the same thing. You're right. I heard that you would just basically pee out the excess. But my understanding is if you have a higher output, if you're expending more energy through more rigorous training, then you do actually synthesize more. So you can take more than 5. But I heard the exact same thing that you heard as well. Thank you for your advice there. Guys, there goes LOBO, possibly into that, or it did actually pop into 125. Still not an area high. Like you can see, we wet the beak there at 28. So we haven't even cleared this area high yet. I'm posted at 133 here on LOBO. We're in at 95s, packing my patience. Like I should have been adding to this on the dollar drop, and I'm lamenting not having done that, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see if we can possibly extract some more on this one as well. Yeah, I know L-arginine is really good. I did get L-arginine back in the day. Is all L-arginine disgustingly tasting?
I have no idea what that is.
It's an amino acid, arginine. Yeah, it's just so bad. I mean, I bought one that I never bought a different brand, and it's just insanely bad. Doesn't matter what you mix it with. OJ, you can put whiskey in that mother, you know what? It's still gonna taste insanely bad.
No way.
What's that, Neil? Yeah, I know, I wouldn't go that far either. I think that would be counterproductive.
Neil likes his...
I'm sure it's just fine with whiskey.
Neil likes his neat.
Get it, Neil.
Neat.
Pug Life, BCAA powder is the worst. LOL, does it stain your cups too? Absolutely. I don't put it in cups, I put it in my water bottle, but thankfully my water bottle is like dark blue, so you don't see the staining too much, but you gotta clean that sucker all the time because the buildup. I definitely feel your pain on that one. Yes. Where do you like to inject though? I do like the right shoulder, but sometimes the right shoulder hurts, so I like to go to the left quad, and then when the left quad starts working, I like to do in the right glute. Okay, so that's where I
Sharif.
distribute. Thank you, Adara.
Get it. I even get that sarcasm.
And that is not easy because she does not like sarcasm. Shout out to Adara. All right, guys, we're having a great time over here. What else you guys looking at, man? I'm still involved in Lobo over here and LXCH. Joey, what do you got, my man?
Yeah, I'm just sitting in this grinder, grinding. Yeah, so that's what we got going on here with Tesla. The market did put in somewhat of a break through this pivot high, and then coming back towards the lower end of this range. So I'm curious to see if we curl over, and I think that if we do, if the Nasdaq does, then maybe we can get our target. Again, if we decide to take an additional leg lower, I think we're going to add a little bit more into this position, but we need the momentum to really pick up here, right? So just keep that in mind. Other than that, I think it's just going to be more or less of a slow grinding. Yeah, RDTT. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier, right? So you made this big leg up, and now you're starting to consolidate. You most definitely want to try to catch the lower end of this range, and then maybe you can get a break through this resistance. But it may take some time, right? Around 1 o'clock or whatever. But if you do slowly curl over, I think that's going to be positive. I wouldn't be buying the tops on this just because it's not like major breakout. For me to be buying a top, it would have to be a couple hours ago, so earlier in the morning, where you're going to get that momentum, and I don't think that's going to be the case here. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, but I think that's more or less the way to go. If you can, once again, catch that lower end of the range, then you'll be all right.
Yeah.
But you got something there? Or
Pandub is actually trending up. It looks like a bit of a buy program. I want to add this morning, which I didn't, but... Yeah,
Panda.
Get that thing out of here, bro.
We got to get our other thing now. Our other mascot there, Sharif.
Oh yeah,
we got to get
keep mentioning that to Brando, but I want to let you guys know BBAI is making a move as well. Shout out to the Katina man who's got the day off. BBAI, great day today for. Well, it's not that big of a day. We're only talking 3%. 625, 635 was the closing print. We're up to 650 at Assassino. If we can show the screen. So this is BBAI we're talking about. Ram, flip to my screen or something, because Assassino's busy. All right, here we go. 658 high a day. Good move up here. This is the 5-minute chart on BBAI. This could be an interesting one. We'll keep tabs on that. But I want to let you know that, oh baby, Lobo is halted again to the downside. After making an attempt at 125, drops down to 104. This could be my ad opportunity. I lamented not having added at 1. Believe it or not, the tap is showing 1, which is fine, but the actual halt level is 104. It's a higher low. So if it holds this area, I'm going to be adding here. I mean, I'm just going to add it here because I was really wanting to add into this area. So without further ado, though, we do have a guest of the day.
We do.
Super pumped to have him on. Thank you so much for coming on. Throw in his title there so everybody knows exactly who this gentleman is. Shout out to Todd from Light Holland. We've seen you in the studio many times. Love having you back. How's your summer going so far, my man?
Yeah, you know, it's going. Thank you for having me back, by the way. Listen, it's always stressful for a microcap CEO. We just got through our year-end and audited results, and you know, you got to love the auditors, but at the end of the day, you know, it always kind of goes down to the wire, so it's stressful. Then you did the earnings call and the Q&A, and I'm a candid guy, so like these things is always a little bit unnatural for me, but you know, we loved it. We got through it. We thought we had a great report, and the Q&A went really well too. So now I can breathe a little bit. It's a long way to do it.
It's good to hear. So look, Todd, I mean, clearly there's a bit of a regulatory tailwind right now that you're catching. You've got a very, very friendly face, let's call that, in the department there in the States. I think the Department of Human Health and Human Services, is that where RFK is heading?
You got RFK, you got Casey Means, the Surgeon General, you got Doug Collins, who's the Secretary of Veteran Affairs. There is a lot of positive momentum in the psychedelic sector, and psilocybin specifically.
Excellent, Todd. So where do you see this kind of going right now? I mean, we kind of got the feeling that there may be some exploratory attempts by the department there. We saw, you know, the likes of MindMed trending up as well, a competitor of yours, of course. Where do you see this kind of going, and what kind of timeline do you expect here for, you know, some of the ailments that people don't really want to use chemical drugs for, is the anxieties, the depressions, etc. What what do you see in terms of a timeline here?
Yeah, great question. I see it's hard for me to predict the exact timeline, but what we definitely see is, like you said, it's trending upwards. There's great momentum. Stigmas are ending, and by the way, some of the companies like Compass, Atai, they are focused on synthetics and sort of like a newer SSRI type based on the foundation of psychedelics and those compounds. And then you have companies like ours that are on the naturally occurring side, which we really believe in. And we had our first shipment from our Netherlands facility that was shipped to a lab in California called Urban Labs, and they're FDA compliant, they're DEA approved, and this is quite significant for our company. But my point of it all is hopefully the timelines are sped up. Mental health is a real serious crisis, and obviously it's terrible to say, but the veterans specifically, I mean, the suicide rates are about 22 a week in the U.S. for veteran suicides, and help needs to be done now. And
Oh yeah.
I'd like to think of the sector overall. I hope, as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats, meaning I hope every company has success, because if there's a patient that prefers a synthetic that's a little bit more standardized in terms of like true drug discovery, I think that's great. But if you want to expedite timelines and want to make sure that you have psilocybin the naturally occurring way with a facilitator-based model, that is, companies like ours are in that running to do that. And that's what we're excited by. And that's what we keep advocating for and pushing for.
And that's fantastic. And look, you guys are holding some good cash on your balance sheets now that you're clearly looking to deploy. I'm seeing that you're adding Bitcoin on the balance sheet there. That seems to be really in vogue these days. Tell us a little bit about that, Todd.
Yeah, ours was a little bit different than just kind of the trend for Bitcoin, meaning we're not a treasury company. It's not like a change of business. We're not focused on just doing the MicroStrategy in sort of a mini version, which we're seeing a lot of companies do, especially on the Nasdaq. Red lights was a matter of necessity. We actually were debanked. Part of our business is just regular mushroom farming, and we were about to build and committed to building a very big farm. We bought 100 acres just north of Toronto, where we're based out of. We're based out of everywhere, to be honest. We're in the Netherlands, but we were going to build this sort of a regular edible produce grocery store mushroom farm. And while we went through our due diligence, we were with a top tier bank in Canada, RBC. I'll just say it. And not only did they not give us a construction loan, because that's what we were trying to do, they then debanked us with, we had multiples of millions of dollars in their bank, and we're a great client. So we thought to ourselves, well, now that we're kind of using more modern online banking services and have some of our money in just like safe interests like GICs and stuff, why not explore Bitcoin too as a store of value? And why not put it on our balance sheet as opposed to a treasury strategy? And to be honest, it's been beautiful for us. Like, we did this as a necessity, but these combination of psychedelic community who believe in deregulation and the Bitcoin community that believe in decentralization for our mental and financial freedoms, like in the personal sovereignty game and that ethos and that spirit of taking control, there's a huge alignment. And I got to thank shareholders and new shareholders who have come to the company. By the way, I wish I had OTC Truff on this little background too, because we're very easily tradable on Truff. Do your financial due diligence, speak to a financial advisor, all this stuff. But we love this alignment with the community, and we're so grateful for the new shareholders coming aboard.
I want to ask you a couple of questions before I throw it to my partner Joseph. Let's start off with adding Bitcoin onto your balance sheet. A lot of companies add U.S. Treasuries or different government treasuries onto their balance sheet, so it's not unusual to hold different financial assets. It's new or nascent for these companies to hold Bitcoin. Any pushback from shareholders or any concerns in that regard? That would be the first part of my question. The second part is the debanking. Now, we saw this a lot down south with crypto firms specifically. We know Coinbase, a lot of these different blockchain companies were also under the microscope, but we're seeing it north of the border now, Todd, specifically with RBC. I think they just canceled. They debanked one of the Freedom Convoy's lawyers, removing him entirely without reason. So is this something that you're concerned about north of the border now? Because we're not seeing it too much south of the border anymore with the new administration.
Yeah, on the first part of the question for the pushback, to be honest, it was a really interesting, long conversation with my board of directors, number one. We have great corporate governance. We pride ourselves in that. And I had to kind of get it through carefully. And I was a big believer. I've been a Bitcoin kind of an investor, and I mined Ethereum with a buddy years ago. So it's something I kind of understand. But one of the things that helped mitigate, I believe, not the reputation risk, but the risk itself on the investment was, hey, it's not just Todd Shapiro, CEO, founder, director, saying we should do this. Let's bring on a true advisor in the crypto space to really help guide us and support us here. So we brought on, you may have heard of him, Wolf of Wall Street, Scott Melker. Really big, just a regular dude, to be honest, in the crypto space, but he's been at every single major conference. He's got to show him. So he'd be great with you guys, actually. Like, you guys would love him if he hasn't been
Tell him to come on.
Yeah, we would love to get him on, and he'll come on. He's such a good guy, and so he is guiding us. We've now signed on with Arch Public. They work with the exchanges like Kraken and stuff, and they kind of have these algos that help buy the dips, sell the highs, and it's kind of always a flowing, investment for you and that store of value, because ultimately you will gain more Bitcoin than you will lose. So we're really excited about that aspect of it. And then when it comes to the debanking, I try to be careful on the political talks.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's just so polarizing, and a CEO of a company's kind of got to be careful because you want shareholders from all bases to come in. But I'm not going to lie, it's frustrating as hell. I don't think anybody should be debanked if they're not doing anything illegal. And maybe people, in the situation, the extreme situation you gave, yes, do I think our Canadian government, who I need to work with, by the way, if we want to get access to veterans and things, do I think they're a little strict and a little bit, politically, polarizing in terms of who they choose to work with and who they don't, because based on a view of one side or the other? It should never be that way. There should always be like this ombudsman approach and fair approach, I believe, and the right to freedom of speech and the freedom to get involved in legally, I'm in a legal market in the Netherlands. We have legal opinions out the yin yang. Like, the amount of money that I spend for our company in audits, in legal opinions, in just listing fees alone, to do it with the corporate governance and self-regulatory ways we are selling psychedelics on a retail level. Yet our Canadian government, and I will be a little critical here, they'll allow it to get delivered through the Canada Post. You could just go and order it online. It's illegal. There's shops in every major city in Canada now. Consumer demand has proven that it should be there, but don't you want to know what's in your product with companies like ours who are getting testing from FDA-approved labs, getting tested by Health Canada-approved labs as well in Montreal, which we've done. So yeah, it's frustrating as hell, man. But I got to be nice. I got to play nice because we need to work with them too. But I think we're at a point where we're going to be a little bit more stern and push the boundaries. One other thing, sorry, I talk so much. Our Canadian government also has this big push now for medically assisted suicide. And we totally understand why certain people need it. Maybe it's a terminal illness. Maybe it's Parkinson's, very tough to live with. We understand these decisions and the freedoms of individuals. But for those with just trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder and things, yes, I get that why those decisions may be made to have legal injections, but why not consider having another last approach to help, to which the science is proving, which psilocybin can do. So why not make that accessible before you choose that really difficult decision for you and your family? And that's what we're pushing for. We're the people's company. I know it sounds corny, but we want to help people. We're a mental health company with a bit of flair. And, we're all in this game together, and it's a tough one. The world's off kilter since COVID, all these wars going on. It's a weird world right now, and we want to be able to help.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff there, Todd. Just a quick question here as well, too, Joseph, by the way. So just speaking of mental health, PTSD, suffering through anxiety, et cetera, what would be the benefits, say, for example, if I wanted to take psilocybin instead of some of the traditional medicine? What is something that is better in the approach with mushrooms opposed to taking some of the traditional pills, et cetera?
Yeah, I want to be careful in saying that every choice that someone has to deal with for their mental health can have contraindications. And obviously, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical provider, I'm not a practitioner, so I'll be careful how I answer the question. But definitely, a doctor should be able to help prescribe what's working for you. But we're seeing a lot of contraindications. We're seeing a lot of addiction. We're seeing a lot of mood swings in the traditional SSRIs. And listen, we're seeing gut problems. We're seeing some people are linking even Alzheimer's to a lot of these long-term use. So the science isn't proven out. And when it comes to naturally occurring substances, again, I do believe that people should, as they sort of said in cannabis, go slow, start slow, go slow kind of thing. Learn what works for you. And right now, unfortunately, it's illegal. So I can't implore or encourage anyone to do this either. But what I can say is if you go to markets like the Netherlands, do it carefully. Do it with friends. Make sure they call it set and setting. You're in the right environment. You're with people you trust. And most importantly, actually, the facilitator model is really, really good. It's a little bit different than the cannabis model, where in Oregon, we're seeing it. We're seeing walls break down in Colorado and things where a facilitator will work with you. They'll give you a certain amount, call it the macro dose of psilocybin, and really guide you through your trauma. So I think if you're macrodosing, make sure you're doing it legally. And if you're doing it legally, again, just make sure you're with the right environment around you. And microdosing, on the other hand, which is why I got into this, like I was microdosing and as a very, very anxious person and a former entertainer and radio show host, it absolutely helped my focus, my mood. You know, anecdotally, I can tell you it's a brilliant, brilliant substance from the earth. I don't even want to say drug. It's like if you think about the way this world works, I think they're going to look back at us in 100 years and go, those were like the mythology years. Like so much is in front of us that is God-given, whatever God you believe in or whatever nature you believe in. And I do believe there is a great path for this. So we're seeing no addictive qualities to psilocybin too. That's proven. We're seeing great studies now in longevity. They're even saying that mice who have been tested using psilocybin not only lived longer, but looked younger. There's a freshness, it's breaking down, you know, your prior information, and it's really exciting what we're learning and how it's helping. So we'll continue to fight the fight, and we'll continue to learn more with science-backed data. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think if you have children, I'm not sure, I know I have children, they're 9 and 5, soon to be 10 and 6, but if they're not getting access to psilocybin by the time they're adults and have a right to try, I think something is wrong with this world. I joke, we should give like all the world leaders psilocybin. I think we do actually combine, forces a little bit and join at the heart, not necessarily always battling at the mind and ego.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So I'm seeing here as well that you guys are in about 60 plus Costco's across Canada and now starting to enter the States and just broadening your retail approach. I'm curious, is there any other big names that you guys are looking to get involved with?
Yeah, we're always looking at increasing our retail approach, and those would be for home grow kits. So the theory behind the lion's mane, oyster, and mushroom home grow kits are that let's get them in these big retailers. Let's learn how to co-package them. Let's learn how to distribute them. Let's obviously learn logistics. Like this stuff is not easy. We're in the CPG game, but again, the overall idea is if they ever legalize psilocybin, perhaps they'll legalize it to be able to grow at home, like they did with cannabis in Canada. Every adult in Canada is allowed up to 3 plants at home. They don't have to go to the Ontario or cannabis stores in other provinces to buy it. So that's kind of the theory there. And yeah, Costco is a great partner of ours. Their most recent order was 21,000 kits. In Oregon and Washington State, we have those same kits in Safeways. So we're always looking to approach it. And I'm going to use this as a plug right now. I just happen to have them. We just launched these functional mushroom gummies, Happy Caps gummies. You can get them on Amazon or at happycaps.ca or happycapsusa.com. And those are lion's mane and shiitake gummies for focus. They have a Health Canada approved number on them, an NPN number for immunity and antioxidants. And again, one day maybe these will be hopefully psilocybin gummies too for microdosing. So we're kind of setting, the table, so to speak, for hopefully regulatory changes. And we're really proud as a company. It's challenging. We preserved our cash well. And honestly, earned media and opportunities like this with you guys is so great for exposure. So we thank you very much for allowing us on.
No, thank you very much. Fantastic stuff, Todd. Todd from Red Light Holland.
Red Light. I think I just entered the interview without you guys ending the interview.
Okay. No, that's it. No, fantastic stuff. Very informative. Much appreciated, Todd. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, OTC Truff, do your due diligence and financial advisor stuff. And we just thank the new Bitcoin community coming and being involved and doing outreach. I'm going to be doing a panel at the Blockchain Futurist conference in Miami now in November and talking about the ethos of personal sovereignty. Let's all be in this together, everybody. We deserve our financial freedom, and we should be able to crave our mental freedom too and be able to have a right to try things that we think can work. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Great stuff there, man. Great information. And you and I were talking about this. Obviously, seeing this a lot more.
Yeah.
With a lot of these studies going around, and hey, man, a lot of ailments in society, psychological ailments, and Big Pharma doesn't always have your best interest in mind. In fact, one could make the argument that your ailment is their revenue, and therefore, they don't really have an incentive to make sure you're.
I think that has been proven for sure.
Yeah, it's out there. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
who knows?
I wouldn't put it maybe past them. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I think definitely trolls that line for sure. I'm sure there's no questioning that. So I mean, fantastic stuff. You got to try it if you want to. That is obviously it's good for. I know I've heard Army veterans taking it for PTSD and everything along those lines and anxiety. But you got to try. Well, you don't have to.
To be fair, you know, my family's business is involved in. So me talking down my own book here, but the facts are facts.
The fact, the facts.
Like reality is reality here. I mean, let's get real.
I mean, obviously it's helped some people, but there's a flip side to the coin, right?
Yeah.
There's always a flip side to the coin.
Always.
And it's the abuse that really damages. I think.
Yeah, man. And like, you know, you have to understand, like, I don't even want to use some of these words so that it doesn't trigger the algorithm on YouTube. So, but a lot of the stuff that we see on the street was actually created by Pharma. Yeah. And it works its way onto the street. So
it gets manipulated from there. And
I just don't want to use any of those words, but you know what I mean.
It is what it is. All right, guys, back to the markets here. So thank you, Todd, once again for that. If you're still listening, we're short Tesla. We entered, we added a little bit more. Now we're starting to head into that 1050 level. Again, primary target being 1040. The Nasdaq starting to take a nosedive here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. As it head lower, and this is going to be a key pivot in order for it to break, right? So you do get a little bit of a break through some of these pivot zones right here, but then you have a nice isolated pivot right here. Not so isolated, but an additional one to the downside. That's rejected, and now you can see you're starting to trade south of the volume weighted average price. So this is something you want to keep an eye out. If this breaks, then you can possibly get that test of the low a day. As long as the Nasdaq continues to sell, then I'm still sitting in some Tesla short, and I think VWAP, I know that VWAP is my primary target.
Bang on. All right, guys, I'm still waiting for here that 80 print on LXEH. It's gotten closer than it has in a while. It actually wicked up there in 80, but as has been the case almost all day on LXEH, the spread is at minimum 2 pennies, and that's why we didn't get the fill. But I'm going to continue to pack my patience. I still have shares on here, guys, so we can continue to weasel some more out. In fact, I'm going to take some out right now. Why not? We'll take out some at 77s. And we'll still wait for that area pop. I'm not seeing any newer small cap gappers work their way onto the scene at the moment. I am thoroughly scanning my small cap gapper list up here for any new ones that have worked on. TNON is still trading below the volume weighted average price. There are some derivatives like CONI, as well as some other derivatives of bigger names, but I don't want to trade those because they don't trade naturally like small cap gappers. I'm seeing another one here, NB. It's a little bit light on volume, but let's have a look at this one anyway. Let's see if we can work into this one. NB is the ticker. Yeah, good breakup over here. The volume, though, as I mentioned, a little light. 3 million on the day for a $3 name. That's not too bad. I've seen a lot worse. And as you can see here on the 5-minute chart, at least, very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 with a 323 high of day. So I could certainly be persuaded to punch into this one. I think that this one might offer a good opportunity here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take off BTAI because that's lost the VWAP and then some. And we're going to throw in NB here on the side chart and monitor this one. In fact, we're going to give it its own trading screen as well, because with a trend like that, you need to put some dang respect on this one's name. It's just a matter of who we're going to take off. Open door, you little son of a gun. It was my fault, though. I screwed up with that monster entry on Open Door. Let's leave Open Door as it is. Lobo as well, lost VWAP. By the way, guys, I flattened out here on Lobo at 105. So before it broke down into that $1 area, we were gonzino. So Lobo did lose the bid. I should have been wetting the beak here at $1.25, but I was waiting for that $1.33. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's throw in NB. 1 penny spread, not bad. You like that, even though, you know, the volume is not exactly what, you know, we typically see on some of these small cap gappers. Let's go ahead and wait here on NOB. Oh, I'm at 20s. I'm going to work my way in. Wow, it's already breaking out. So I'm going to have to actually front run that a little bit. Neil. Always makes me laugh, dude. Neil's got a sick sense of humor. All right, so I'm waiting at 22 here on NB. I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm just not going to punch in at highs. I haven't traded so well on the day that I can afford to do that. So NB up 15.25% and looking real good over here. So that's it, Joey. You know, we're going to start the news real soon. We're going to do that. Yeah, we got a lot of news items to go through with a zillion and one companies reporting yesterday. A lot of details to get through. So anything you're looking at there you want to share before we jump into that?
Yeah, most definitely. VinFast Game in Indonesia, execution. They've just locked in 3 more service partners. Nawals, Warni Ban, and Refrain, bringing 19 new workshops into their EV service network. Add in Otolix and BOS. That's a total of 181 certified service centers nationwide. This is how you scale confidence and capacity. With infrastructure like this, that 200,000 EV delivery goal isn't just ambitious. It's looking very, very real right now.
I think it's real and ambitious, baby.
Very much so. You can be a little bit of both, I guess. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
We're not talking because they're obviously a sponsor, but I'm seeing more of these things on the road.
They are, yeah. I'm seeing the vans. I'm seeing a lot of the vans around. Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of those most definitely. They look all right. I mean, I'll take it.
All right.
Good stuff. Sorry, one thing before we hop into the news there, Sharif.
For sure, brother.
Tesla short working out for us. We did take a little bit more off here. And then now we're looking for this next leg lower. I did take off a little bit too much here by accident, but that's okay. We still have about half of the position remaining. And then now we're just going to wait for this 45 level just in case that comes into play. What is the market up to? Yeah, it's still selling, heading right towards that key pivot that I was mentioning earlier. Microsoft taking an additional leg lower. So I'm going to suspect that that gap is pretty much almost filled. Not quite, but we're almost there. Market turning around. Big tech selling, short Tesla. Let's get into this.
Oh, no. All right, let's get it, baby. All right, let's start the news here. Assassino, is this big enough of a window over here? That's okay if I leave it like that? Just no problem. All right, guys, here's the deal. Donald Trump shaking things up again. Oh, no. Tariffs are back. Is it April again? Yes, last night, Trump signed an executive order adjusting the reciprocal tariffs ranging from 10 to 41% on dozens of countries. Tariffs will take effect, August 2nd, with, according to him, no further extensions. Transshipped goods, meaning goods that originate from one country, shipped to another for maybe relabeling or just reshipping to avoid tariffs, will be even hit harder. They will face an additional 40% as sort of, a slap on the wrist. Don't do that. Targeting efforts obviously to circumvent these duties. Non-listed countries, though, in the executive order will face a default 10% tariff, modifying the earlier rules that he had put in April. Here's the deal. The highest new tariffs, Syria getting slapped with 41%, Laos and Myanmar up to 40%, Switzerland 39%, South Africa 30%. You will have countries experiencing select relief, though. The cut for Thailand dropped from 36 down to 19, Malaysia as well from 24 to 19. Canada, though, oh no! We jumped from 25 to 35% Adara, except for those USMCA covered goods. You have something for us, though.
I'm going to opine on that as well, but I really quickly want to mention we have news, and it is about Donald Trump. He posted on True Social, given Trump, it's always a bit of a longer post. I'll just get to really the meat of it. He basically, I guess, did not like some statements that were made by the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev. And so now he said because of that, he's ordering 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in, quote, the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. That was all a quote. But yeah, he said that words can lead to unintended consequences, and he hopes this is not one of those instances. So he's basically prepared to, I guess, deploy some nuclear submarines in Russia. Now, with regards to the tariffs, Sharif, I think it's not super surprising. We know Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary himself, has said that Trump likes to deal in, intentional uncertainty, strategic uncertainty, that was the word. And so like these are not up to date. This is just as of the tariff letter. It's crazy this was a month ago. But as you guys can see, like the way that the new tariff rates compared to the Liberation Day rates is all over the place. Some of them were lower, some of them were higher. It seemed a little bit random, much like we're seeing here. Trump is continuing to deploy that strategic uncertainty, especially with Canada. We know Claudia, the leader of... Sure, Claudia Sheinbaum, thank you, the leader of Mexico. She's already said this isn't really going to impact us, but Canada, I think the impact beyond the fact that we live here should be pretty interesting because that was shocking, Sharif.
And China, Dara, I mean, we got to go on here. Thank you for opining on that. I completely agree with you. But there is ongoing tariff negotiations between China and the United States set for August 12th. Nothing affected so far, but the transshipment clause that I just explained to you guys, that 41%, that's going to affect China. So anything being shipped from China to Vietnam, China to Malaysia, China to wherever to skirt the whatever 45 or 54% tariffs that are on Chinese goods currently will be slapped with an additional 40 some odd percent as kind of a stick there. This highlights, you know, the executive order's lack of clarity on the rules of origin, increasing some uncertainty. But here's the deal. The directive is aiming here to enforce what Trump thinks is fair trade, pressuring these nations into a bilateral agreement. He hinted, Joey, that at a possible raising of the baseline tariff from 15, which we've seen a couple of countries now get. He wants to slap that up to 20, especially the ones that don't have trade pacts with him right now. So a lot of people were making the assumptions, Joseph, that 15 would be the minimum. He wants to leave, you know, some sort of ambiguity there and make you think maybe 20 is going to be for you.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, if you don't sign the deal that he wants you to sign, then sure enough, he's just going to slap you with a little bit more of it.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Ball's in his court, it seems to be.
The ball's in his court. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Obviously, I think the Supreme Court decision was supposed to be yesterday. I didn't get the chance to check the news. Again, that was being challenged. His authority to issue these tariffs was being challenged. I think it was supposed to be decided yesterday. Chat, did we get a response on that? Let me know, because I haven't had an opportunity to look. While you guys look for that, let me tell you about this. Apple down on the day bigly today, 2 1/3%. We'll talk about the earnings, and you let me know what you guys think. EPS, Joey, of $1.57, crushing the 143 expected by the street, with net income coming in just shy of $24.5 billion. That was up from the $21.5 billion they printed last year on the quarter, with revenue rising about 10%, all the way up now to about $94 billion on the quarter. Again, easily beating the expectations of $89.5 billion. That is their strongest growth since December of 2021, when we had that pandemic super cycle. Everybody had money, nobody knew what to do with it. Gross margins also topped estimates at 46.5%. The street was looking just shy of 46 at 49.5. Let's talk about iPhones, because this is really what moves the needle for Apple. We know that, okay? iPhone revenue soared 13% year over year, with the headline number topping expectations. $44.6 billion in revenue. The street wanted 40 and a fifth. Tim Cook noted that strong double-digit growth for iPhone 16 was actually from current iPhone users. Your boy Joey fits into that category. He was a previous iPhone user, and now he's got a 16 here on the table. Some sales strength is tied to pre-tariff buying behavior. So he said, if you had a 10% increase in pull forward, in increase, just generally, 1% of that is pull forward. That's his statement. That doesn't necessarily make it a fact. Let's talk about Mac and services revenue. These were two categories they did well. Mac revenue rose 15%, up to $8.05 billion, really aided by the refreshed MacBook Air. Their services segment, very closely watched. That is their highest gross margin product. Increased 13% up to now $27.4 billion, really led by App Store and iCloud subscriptions. Both segments beat Wall Street expectations. Now let's talk about the weak spot, what they didn't do well on. iPads and wearables. Wearables include like the AirPods, the Apple Watch, etc. iPad revenue was surprising here with the new refreshed iPad coming out. I thought it would be up year over year. In fact, it was down 8% year over year. Wearables as well fell 8.6% year over year, up to selling about $7.5 billion worth. Let's talk about China. That's another very closely watched figure for Apple. China revenue increased 4% year over year. They're selling about $15.3 billion worth of products in that country. But he did say that some of the products were driven up by some of the subsidies right now being offered by the Chinese government. But he said very few of the Apple products, except obviously the iPhone included, sold in China actually qualified for those subsidies. So he wanted to kind of calm the fears that the increase in China revenue was driven by government subsidies. Let's talk about their AI thing. Another closely watched thing for Apple. Everything's closely watched. He did say, Tim Cook that is, he said they're significantly growing their AI investments, embedding across all platforms. He didn't give specific numbers, but what he did say was they acquired 7 companies. They bought 7 companies year to date, very small, nothing huge. And he sees AI tools as sort of complementary to the iPhone as opposed to replacing them. I should mention, he did say that he's not averse whatsoever to acquiring companies in order to advance AI. I like to hear that. Last thing here, Joey, before we send it to you, Apple took an $800 million tariff hit in Q3, and they're estimating that they'll take a $1.1 billion hit from tariffs in Q4. However, I was listening to the call yesterday. He qualified that statement. He said, do not use that $1.1 billion as your baseline. Things will have changed then. He didn't offer any color on that. One can assume, though, that Apple's taking the necessary moves behind the scenes to kind of skirt these tariffs. At least that's what I want to believe as an Apple shareholder.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to your point there, Sharif, about just kind of acquisitions, we know that well, I guess we don't, but Apple's largest acquisition was Beats by Dre, and that was a while ago, which was roughly a couple of $billion. And then they were also in talks with, I believe, was it Anthropic or Perplexity who they were in? Perplexity they were in talks with, and that would have been their largest acquisition. I think it had the valuation of around $14 billion. But as for the tariffs, we know that has been a big time issue with Apple, and you can see that reflected in the stock price as well too. But they also increased their dividend as well, so that's big. And then obviously share buyback programs, massive big. That's pretty big as well too. So we like that for the long term. Excuse me. And just from a free cash flow, we know that they have a limited cash, and they necessarily haven't been putting it to work. As Sharif mentioned, they did acquire some companies, but very, very small. And Beats by Dre was the largest of the that it has done of all time in the record of Apple. And if we pull this thing up from a technical standpoint, we can see the price. It was lagging its peers. The Nasdaq and some of the other mega tech stocks are making all
everybody, bro.
Pardon me?
It's lagging everybody.
Yeah, it's lagging everybody big time. And the recovery has been poor considering we have a big gap down. But again, they're buying back shares. They're increasing their dividend. And then now we're down 22.2%. Dude, we're down 22% from those all-time highs. But I think the tide's going to turn. They set the bar extremely low with this AI rollout now, considering they botched the first one. Glass is coming out. iOS 26 Sharif has the beta. But when that comes out, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a massive game changer. I don't know if I'm looking for a big hardware upgrade, Sharif. I know there's some modifications to the new one.
Yes, sir.
Software is great. But I think I would want to see something from a hardware standpoint that kind of just takes them to that next level, and and just makes Apple the dominant space once again.
Yeah, I agree.
In their space.
Adara, what's your look on the dead one over here? Give us the take.
I'm going to focus on a topic I found very fascinating. You know, you and I have talked about a lot, Sharif, as well. The Meta acquisitions. Now, how am I going to make this about Apple? Well, I'll tell you, because if Tim Cook's saying, oh, well, we might acquire things down the line for AI. Hey, Tim, your buddy Mark has been acquiring AI people left, right, and center, including your own researcher, Ruming Pang, and 2 guys on his team. He got Ruming for $200 million. Now, like, I think the fact that he's already losing AI people to a major competitor and is like, well, maybe we'll make AI acquisitions, is a bad look. It's a weird look. It's a confusing look. And also, here's the other angle I want to take. The fact that Meta is willing to pay $200 million, yes, that's right, for Rumen Pang, an AI researcher from a company that is not known for success in AI, that tells me maybe Rumen's capable of things that Apple is not maybe letting him do. They're taking him and his team, which suggests that maybe Mark Zuckerberg is going to be able to utilize these guys in a better way than Apple is able to. I know that's a really specific take on the company, but that's what I do here. In terms of the stock, they're at day's lows. They're below 202. But yeah, I honestly, I think that's it. I just kind of thinking about that, did a quick deep dive in Rumen Pang, and I realized, hey, maybe the issue is not the team Apple has, it's how they're utilizing stuff.
You don't see any of this as panic buying by Zuck?
That's another interesting point. When you put it
I'm
that
just
way,
throwing it out there, yeah.
No, when you put it that way, it gives you pause. But what gives me more pause is Tim Cook only saying now they might consider acquisitions in AI. So when I balance the two evils, I would say Tim Cook's behavior is a little bit more concerning than Zuckerberg's. I think Zuckerberg has a plan. As scattershot as that plan might be, he's willing to spend a lot of money on it. Now, he was also willing to spend, I'm sure, a lot of money on his weird T-Pain collaboration. So not saying all of his purchases are like A1, but I think he does have a plan. I think he's gotten a lot more mature and business-minded. Let's see how it goes.
I like it.
Let me add a little bit to that there, Adara, because it almost sounded like it was a plan B for Tim Cook to start putting his cash to work and getting acquiring companies like Anthropic, Perplexity, whatever it may be. But they're like, hey, if we don't get it right, this is our plan B. How do you feel about that being a plan B? Because me personally, I don't like that. That just shows me that you don't have enough confidence in what you're doing right now, that you're thinking down the line. If we don't get this right and we continue to fall behind, then we're going to have to go out and outsource some of our AI moves.
Yeah, that's fair.
People have been saying Tim Cook is cooked. It's a pun, it's a joke, but also, like you said, he's just not very hip in terms of his strategic positioning. I don't know, maybe they do need a new CEO in there to shake things up, because you're right, it's an odd plan B. And I mean, not saying you should go Zuck and that be your plan A. Like, there's definitely a happy medium, but neither of these men have found it.
No, and I listened to the call yesterday too, Adara, and there was a marked difference between the amount of times AI was mentioned on yesterday's call versus the almost, maybe I think 2 times we heard it during WWDC, that little pre-recorded presentation that they had where they mentioned it in the beginning. There was clearly, they had either hired a PR firm to kind of guide them in the call because they couldn't stop saying AI on the call. I'm just telling you exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's
and it wasn't just
painful.
Timmy C, your boy, the CFO, the new guy that took over from that Maestro guy or whatever, Luca something or another. The new CFO there, he couldn't stop saying it either. So you can felt it was a little scripted. You could felt that they felt the pressure of being behind in AI. I kind of agree with you. I feel Apple scrambling a little bit over here.
They need help.
I think so, yeah. But we know it. Okay, so we know that they're behind in this. And whatever, if you want to call it a race, whatever it may be, we know that they're slightly behind, but they were never first to the dance. But how far is too far behind? And when you see kind of like Meta just acquiring talent across the board, and Apple has done little to that, how far is too far, in my opinion? And I don't know. I'm not going to give it too much more time. I do think they get it right. You just don't want them being too late where people have moved on and they've found something better.
Yeah, I just still like the consumer aspect, the consumer-facing aspect to the AI play. Obviously, Meta's in the consumer-facing aspect as well, but when you look at the softies, these are all B2B rather than B2C, which is not bad, because B2B is higher margins, right? Let's talk a little Amazon. So Amazon also, well, where's Amazon? Down 8.15. I mean, look, it was really the guide. There wasn't a whole lot wrong in the report. Let's talk about it. EPS of $1.68 easily beat expectations of $1.33 on revenue. Can't even believe I'm reading this number. 167.7 billion, topping estimates of 162. Q3 operating income guidance did miss. They guided 15.5 to 20.5 billion. That missed the midpoint of 19.48, so there was a miss right off the initial look there. Their Q3 revenue guidance now, they're guiding 174 to 179.5, which implies 10 to 13% growth depending on the range. The street expected 173.1, so even the bottom end of that range is fine. So in line but not exciting, according to this article. I think it's fantastic. That's just my look there. But this is kind of where I don't want to say it all fell apart, but this is where most people were watching. AWS, Amazon Web Services, their cloud division. We saw what Google did. We saw what Microsoft Azure did, Joey. 39% increase year over year in growth on that top line number for Azure or Azure, however you're saying it. Cloud, Google Cloud, 32% increase top line growth. 18% here for AWS, slightly beating 30.87, slightly beating, but when you're looking at the comps, it's not a good look. So we'll keep an eye out on that. AI spending, that's going to be big. They're going to spend about $100 billion in the remaining, for all of 2025 on AI infrastructure this year. Investors remain skeptical, obviously, about the short-term ROI on that $100 billion. They did not guide how much they're going to spend or expect to spend in 26. A lot of other companies guided about their spend next year. Let's talk about advertising, because I think this is a really big bright spot here for Amazon. Advertising revenue jumped 23% year over year. Now, 15.7 billion, easily beating the street's estimates of 14.9. Amazon now is number 3 behind your big boy there. Alphabet, obviously, number 1, followed by Meta. Amazon now number 3 in digital ad sales. And their ad growth outpaced Google Ads, which was up 10%, and on par with Meta. Meta grew at around 22% there. Let's talk the last here, their core retail business, the one that I use 99% of the time. Online store revenue grew 11% year over year, up to $61.5 billion, above the $59 billion estimate, Joey. Seller services also, because there's third-party sellers who have to pay, that increased 11% year over year, up to $40.3 billion, again beating that 38.7 projected. Despite tariff worries, though, your boy Andy Jassy noted no noticeable impact on demand or pricing. That's quite surprising.
Yeah, very surprising, Sharif. Obviously, minimal impact for this quarter, right? Right? For now, we're going to be optimistic about what we got going on. But down the road, we might see something along those lines where we're starting to see margins obviously be decreased as well. But one thing that I want to note is that, yes, we know the e-commerce sector is strong, Sharif.
Sir.
But I'm going to be keeping an eye on names like Walmart, who is stepping up their game in the e-commerce sector as well, too, right? So just keep an eye out for that, because they can take share from Amazon. And I mean, if I think for me, Amazon is just, the app is really compatible. You can use it. It's easy to flow through. And if Walmart runs down that line, America loves Walmart. We love Walmart. I think they can start to grab some substantial.
Can I build on your point?
Absolutely.
And you already have pre-existing distribution centers, the stores, dude.
Exactly.
So if you reformat the stores to be distribution centers as well as retail, face-to-face retail space,
And we know that Walmart, they say that the majority of their products are assembled in America, opposed to where the majority of the products from Amazon are coming from China.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Daryl, what's your look on Amazon here? Did anything specifically stand out to you, or just general ideas?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I talked about this yesterday. I showed this graphic yesterday. AWS is going to be probably one of the most interesting things. And I think the fact that they're struggling, at least comparatively with AWS, is interesting, because Andy Jassy, the current CEO of Amazon, was the AWS CEO for like years and years before he was promoted. So you'd think he'd have a better understanding of this business. I think what's interesting, too, if you look at this infographic, and this was like not the intention of why I made it for whatever reason, I think just kind of to show the growth. But regardless, we get really nice exponential growth. And then heading into 2022, 2023, we start to see things go from straight up to a little bit more side to side. So I think maybe they're just in a little bit of a funk. They need to, get that consolidation before they break out, to use a trading analogy. I don't think it's all over for AWS. But yeah, I think the other thing as well that I mentioned yesterday a lot was the tariff impact on pricing. I think that's still going to be a huge catalyst. I think with Amazon, like a lot of these Mag 7 companies, I'm more interested in what they do going forward. And I'm also interested in how, we got that letter reportedly from Axios from that Democratic representative, Maggie Hassan, about the pricing of groceries impacted by tariffs. So Amazon's really in a catch-22. If they respond to that, the Trump admin's probably going to go after them.
We've been seeing a lot more of this. We've been seeing Donald come out against the pharmaceutical companies with respect to price. Now you're hearing it about groceries. So there's this bigger movement, I think, generally in politics to kind of, I don't want to say price caps because it sounds super communist, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Especially about things that are needed to live. So it's interesting to see how that develops. Yeah, I like how you brought up that point. Thank you, Darren.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to Coinbase. Interesting look here for Coinbase. I didn't expect this at all, especially with how Robinhood and SoFi reported. So Q2 revenue on Robinhood is about $1.5 billion. That did miss estimates of $1.6 billion. EPS beat $1.96. The street was looking for $1.26. But here's the deal. You'll see this in a second. Net income was $1.43 billion, about $5.14 a share. But look at this, boosted by a $1.5 billion unrealized gain from Circle and $362 million in crypto portfolio gains. So you remove that Circle IPO and what they're holding in treasury for crypto, and all of a sudden you may be talking about a net loss here as opposed to a net gain. What the hell's going on over there, Coinbase? Let's dig deeper, find out. Transaction revenue came in at about $764 million. That was below estimates of $787 million, so a miss there. Retail trading volume, it did rise 16% year over year, up to $43 billion, but again, falling short of that $48 billion the street was expecting. Stable coins and subscriptions were certainly a focus. Their services and subscription revenue hit $655.8 million, up 9% year over year. But again, missing that expectation, that street expectation, which here, almost $706 million. Stablecoin revenue, $332.5 million. That was roughly in line and was up about 38% year over year. They did, as I mentioned, though, they do benefit. I didn't actually know this, Joey. Listen to this. They benefit from 100% revenue share for the USDC that's held on their platform and about 50% off platform via the Circle deal. That's not a bad look there.
No, at all.
Not a bad look. And last but not least, Joey, they're expanding obviously beyond trading. They're looking at getting into the tokenized real world assets. We talked about this, derivatives, prediction markets, token launches. The initial rollout will be in the US, Joey, and then they're looking to kind of possibly move overseas for that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch on a couple other things here, Sharif, sorry, I was typing in the chat there, but did you mention the JP Morgan and Chase deal that they're...
I did not.
Okay, so here we go. So highlights include a new partnership with JP Morgan Chase to enable new crypto purchasing options and a Bitcoin rewards credit card with American Express. Acquisitions actively included buying crypto options exchange, Deribit, and token management from Liquify. So yeah, they got some things going on. We know that the transactions have been down, right? I think it was a revenue, I seen it was around 38% or something year over year. So it's a substantial amount. And for me, I was just thinking, are traders, retail traders, and even investors starting to rotate out of Coinbase into names like Robinhood? Because we've seen that they had fantastic numbers and they're continuously growing across the platform. So that was just in the back of my mind, is one platform losing customers to another? And it might be the case here in Coinbase, but that American Express and that JP Morgan deal, I think that's fantastic stuff from Coinbase. But let's take a look at it from a technical standpoint real quick, Sharif, as well.
Sir.
Not too good of a look. I mean, Genius Act, fantastic stuff. You get on this monster run, and Robinhood
That's coin?
Yeah,
Oh
that's coin, my
God.
friend. Robinhood put in the exact same print right here. Look at it. Look at this daily print here, Sharif, and then look at Robinhood there. Oh no, that was lackluster. Exact same thing, essentially, right? At that extreme high, and look what has sold off substantially more. So keep an eye out on what's going on with coin. I do believe that it will recover, but it's just only a matter of time. Massive gap down. Wait for that volatility to cool off, and then I think eventually you'll be able to get involved in this name once again. But that's a good pullback, 22% off of those highs to where we're currently 30%.
Are you as surprised by this report as I am?
Honestly, I'm kind of not. And I think part of it is, I talked about this yesterday, Coinbase has historically been really inconsistent when it comes to giving us earnings. They had like a whole year where they were only doing losses per share in the quarter. Then they got to profit. So I think what is surprising is the fact that the only reason they were profitable is the Circle IPO, because, you know, they're not going to have that every quarter. That is, I think, kind of a scary look, honestly, if I was an investor in the company or if I was Brian Armstrong and his team. And I think you can really see investors reacting to that. This is a nasty flat bottom break, it looks like.
But weren't you at
not
all
like the cleanest flat bottom break, because we've had a slightly higher high at one point near 325s. But that 316 level, if it breaks, to quote Obi, oh boy, I think that's going to be really nasty.
At all surprised though by some of the comps, like with Robinhood and SoFi, talking about 100% year-over-year increase in assets held, 100% year-over-year increase, almost like 90-something in trading volume, and then Coinbase misses completely. They didn't surprise you at all?
Well, I think if you think about it too, like Robinhood and SoFi are a lot broader in terms of what they cover, right? You know, Robinhood, you can trade a lot different types of assets. Coinbase is very much crypto specific. And I think, like I said, the thing to me that's going to be the most concerning about that is the earnings per share.
Yeah,
I'm going to be really honest. That's all I care about.
That's what I was referring to as well. Do you see customers, retail traders starting to move from one platform to the other because you don't have to be switching? Like, I'm just thinking it from a simplistic standpoint.
Sure.
Is that you don't have to go through multiple apps. It's like, you know what, guess what? I got my Robinhood app. I can trade my Bitcoin, I can trade my Ethereum, I can trade my XRP, and I can trade American equities as well too.
Yeah,
and then the
that's
chances,
a good point.
And then the chances of equities being tokenized gives you even more incentive to want to trade onto one platform because hey, 24 hours, I don't got to go over to what Coinbase is doing. I have everything in one here with Robinhood.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's talk to another crypto name here, MicroStrategies. Ridiculous look here. Reporting Q2 earnings of $32.60 per share. You got to assume a lot of that's unrealized, given that their gains are unrealized. Their revenue, not much, because they don't really make money that way. $114.5 million, but that beat the expectations by about $1 million. The surprise upside was really driven here by that $14 billion unrealized gain on their Bitcoin holdings, obviously fueled by accounting changes. We're talking about mark-to-market accounting. If you don't know what mark-to-market accounting is, super quick on Perplexity or chat. Super easy to understand. Let's talk about their 2025 guidance for the rest of the year. They're guiding about $34 billion in operating income. About 24 of that billion is actually going to be net income profit, take-home money, whatever you want to call it, translating into about $80 a share in earnings. Their Bitcoin holdings are now up to 628,791, with about 3% of the total global supply worth about $73 billion at the current price. That was yesterday, obviously. Bitcoin taking a bit of a drop today, likely dropping a little bit lower than that. Their average price, it's not on here, but it's in the mid to high 70s. A lot of the street, credits their first mover advantage. They're one of the first people just to add Bitcoin onto their balance sheet as a method of making money. Analysts note MSTR's premium valuation. Let's be honest, it is very highly valued here due to its first mover BTC treasury strategy. Mizuho did reiterate their buy rating, citing strategic differentiation between other BTC holding companies. And last but not least here, guys, they announced they used $2.5 billion from its recent preferred stock offering. Joey, can you guess what they did?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. What does MicroStrategy do with every dollar they get?
They bought XRP.
Exactly, obviously.
They bought XRP and Ethereum.
So Joey, they took that $2.5 billion right there. They bought an additional 21,021 Bitcoins at an average price of 117,256.
Not to get into all the financial gibberish of what Michael Saylor is doing, but essentially he's just looking to get his shareholders not only the appreciation in Bitcoin, but the appreciation within the stock price. And that's why he's having these offerings all the time. So yeah, I mean, it is almost a double-edged sword, right? So you're gonna get the Bitcoin, but then you also have these larger investors who are like, we're really long Bitcoin, but we're also short MicroStrategy at the same time. And I've seen it across multiple investors and some of these funds as well too. I forget the individual's name, but you just gotta watch out for those things. And also a lot of these numbers are based on if Bitcoin hits 150,000 by the end of the year well too, guys. So keep that in mind. Sharif, what do you got for us?
With Trade the Pool's swing trading programs, Joseph, you can now get access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not CFDs. And you can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy, best of all, that limited risk. Thanks to a one-time evaluation fee, there's no monthly payments, there's no hidden cost. Let's take Vincent J, for example. He's one of Trade the Pool's swing traders. This dude's already locked in $23,082 in profits. What's his top performing stock, you asked? NMAX, NMAX, he shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in about $6,700 and 77 back in gains. Trade the pool, baby. It's giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan that QR code and enjoy 10% off. Shout out to Trade the Pool. Adara, I know you have a lot of trading experience with MicroStrategy, but what's your what are your thoughts on its earnings?
Yeah, I actually didn't touch this one today. I kind of had it on a watch. It wasn't super clean post-market. Today, I think, like, honestly, that 383 breakdown was pretty clean with that double top at 386, but I digress. Let's talk about the company itself. We know I kind of enjoy this infographic, so I'm just going to put it up here. Michael Saylor really loves Bitcoin, and this is a real quote he once said about Bitcoin, calling it a, quote, swarm of cyber hornets serving the goddess of wisdom. Yeah, like, I mean, this is, they've been involved in crypto going back to Q1 2020. This black line is not their stock. It's actually the price of crypto. But yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty interesting look here for MSTR. And guys, I looked up what the company actually allegedly does beyond Bitcoin because I was curious. It has nothing to do with crypto. It was actually, they were initially a firm to develop software to analyze internal and external data. So, I mean, crazy how they went from point A to point B. I think with MSTR, this is always going to be less fundamental and more based on hype. We know it's very, very sensitive, and I'm going to pull up the daily chart now because I want to talk about the day that Citron Research, which is a firm people don't even respect, had a short report on this, and MSTR dropped like over $100 in one day. So I think with MSTR, it is incredibly sensitive to outside pressure. It almost is a bit more of a meme stock, I would argue, than a lot of these other crypto tickers. So I think with that one, always be careful. Michael Saylor and his crypto buddies, or people who follow this stock, they're not going to really care as much about what the company's making. The earnings per share, impressive, Sharif. But one of my other spready ticker friends, Booking, they did earnings of over $50 per share this quarter. So, I mean, yeah, like it's a crazy number, but in that realm, I guess not that out of the ordinary.
Well, I mean, strategy guided to almost $80. It was around $80 a share.
80 for full year.
80
full year,
for
though.
full year, exactly. Right? But I mean, that's up from 50 full year.
Yes, sir.
So that's big time. I mean, but that's regarding that Bitcoin gets to $150,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's talk about what everybody saw yesterday. That's the Figma IPO. This thing was insanely well received, as have been many IPOs. We're talking about Newsmax, we're talking about Webull, Circle, CoreWeave, and now Figma. Not all of them are oversubscribed at the actual IPO stage, but they all seem to be met well initially in trading once they do launch. That's been my observation lately. Let's see if that continues with a lot more companies now wanting to IPO after what they saw yesterday. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, and we'll talk about why. So Figma shares, as we saw, soared 250% on the first day. At yesterday's close, it was valued at $68 billion, which is over tripling what Adobe's failed buyout would have been 3 years ago, which was $20 billion. That got the kibosh as a result of the regulator out in England who was likely to block it. That's the thing about these multinational companies. It's not just about one jurisdiction's regulator that you have to worry about. You have to worry about every regulator in the countries in which you operate. Tough. Raised $1.2 billion with that IPO. 2/3 of that $1.2 billion is going to pay out early investors. The lockout period here is going to be in January 2026. Don't know the exact date. Do your research on that. The IPO market's really kind of turning point after a long lull, especially for tech IPOs since 21. A lot of these U.S. VC venture capital backed IPOs, they shrank bigly. In 2021, we had 155 come to market, and then last year in 2024, we only had 30. So now we're starting to see, that pick up a little bit. Who knows if it gets as frothy as it was back in the pandemic days of 21, but it's better to see anything than what we saw in 22. Or 24 with the wrath of Lena Khan. Circle IPO'd in June, shares similarly surged from $31 to $183, giving venture capital firms like IDG and Excel $12 billion in gains. So we're starting to see a lot more of that. CoreWeave as well. AI infra provider now valued, well, I don't know where it's at right now, $56 billion, despite being, 38% off from the June highs. We saw that as well. We keep looking at my short there on with the options. But here's the deal, Joey. Not everybody's really happy about what the with the IPO yesterday, and the reason is Bill Gurley. He criticized the IPO pricing mechanics. He says that banks, the underwriters, that is, they left a lot of money on the table. for the insiders, right? He called Figma's pop expected and intentional, benefiting big bank clients who bought at $33 a share, right? So, you know, is there some sort of market discrepancy here that the IPO price is so far removed from what the actual opening price on the trading day is? Like 33 bucks, which was already up from 30 to 32. Keep that in mind, right? And then we open up at 85. Is that just market froth, Joey, or are these bankers intentionally keeping the price low?
I would go with the latter half of that one there, Sharif. There's no questioning that because, again, it's happened on multiple occasions. We've seen it in the likes of Circle. Look what happened with Circle.
Well said.
Right? So you have an oversubscription of what we have in Figma, and then sure enough, okay, yeah, that opening that obviously was at $33, and then you open up at $80, and then sure enough, you move up to $140. That's absolutely insane. So I would definitely go with the latter half of that question there, Sharif. 68% from that low to where we're currently trading at. Me personally,
yes, sir.
I don't think I'd be swing trading this or anything along those lines. You need things to cool off. You only have a couple of days of data, but again, expansive true range. I wouldn't be surprised if it heads back towards that offering price. That's for sure.
Adara, give us the goods over here. You know, I asked Joey this question. I'm going to ask it to you as well. What's going on with the difference between the IPO price and these opening prices, Adara?
I mean, who's to say? I think what is interesting with Figma, because I'll usually see the updates on X and I'll post them on X at TTV Research just to provide people with updates. Usually what I saw with CoreWeave and what I saw with Circle was a steady increase in the IPO price. Figma did not do that. It was a steady increase in the IPO price, up above 100. Then we started seeing a decrease. And then we opened at 85. So that was a bit different, and that does seem a bit shadier than what you're seeing with CoreWeave and Circle, for example, which are just steady upticks, and then they open and they boom.
So hold on. So you're assuming that some of the insiders are selling to that, you think?
I'm not really making assumptions. I'm just saying, like, I find the action worth noting. That's the extent to which I'll say that. But I think either way, FIG today was a short, basically off the open. You can kind of see this downtrend here from the highs. We crack lower, then we kind of did a little bit like pseudo kind of rounded top nonsense, rejected that 125. We bounced here, though, decisively off 110 now twice. So right now it seems like some temporary support. We'll see how long that lasts. In terms of IPOs going forward, Sharif, I mean, I think this Figma proved, along with Circle and to a lesser extent maybe CoreWeave, that IPO season is back. And with that in mind, I'm waiting for Andrew. Palmer Lucky has said he's down for an IPO of Andrew.
I can't wait for that, Adara.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait for that.
Which
I'm getting my Lou.
Andrew.
I'm getting in that stock. Also Discord. Like, I think the fact that there could be a double-edged sword in that people get too excited for them when they kind of stop working. But I think either way, Figma was interesting. Figma, I didn't trade the IPO, but it certainly was really fun to watch. And I cannot wait to see what's next for IPO season.
Bang, pumped. Let's see what's next here, Dara. We're going to talk about Reddit. Fantastic report yesterday for Reddit. Where's it at right now, Joey? We up or down on the day? We're up, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was up. It was up quite a bit at one
point.
We're at
20 and 2/3
so
right
now
now,
it's north of that. Last time I was looking at it, was up 18%. Now you're even north of that.
Let's tell the people why. EPS, guys, 45 pennies. The street wanted 19. That's a major beat. That's not a joke there. Revenue, $500 million. Joey, that increased 78% year over year and 17% above the consensus estimate. The largest beat since they IPO'd. Good for them. Q2 net income, they took about $89 million home. Compare that to last year on the quarter where they lost about $10 million, really kind of driven by the IPO cost normalization. Their Q3 revenue guide, that top line number for the next quarter, they're guiding 535 to 545 versus a 473 estimate.
Yeah.
Are these estimates just purposely low, or are the companies doing real well here? Their adjusted earnings as well, they're guiding 185 to 195, again ahead of that 160 expected by the street. And let's talk about the growth in users, their global daily active users. We're not talking in the billions like we do with Meta. We're talking in the hundreds of millions, 110.4 million daily active users, 21% year-over-year increase and easily topping estimates. Their average revenue per user, ARPU, $4.53, ahead of that $3.90 expected. Their U.S. revenue as well, $409 million instead of that $335. The street was expecting. Their international revenue was $91 million. That was in line with expectations. I don't even understand what this is. Logged in daily active users, 17. Logged out daily active users, up 24%. I'm sure we can find out that no problem. But that is whatever you're looking at there. It's a 17 and a 24% increase year over year. But they're introducing this new tool, Joseph. Reddit Answers. It's an AI tool. It now has 6 million weekly active users, up from 1 million just quarter over quarter. That's not even a year over year comp. That's a quarter over quarter comp. The tool will expand globally according to the company and be more deeply embedded in the search functionality within the app or website, depending on how you use it. Management is trying to reposition Reddit as a search core use case. We know that they sell their data to these LLMs to learn off, so that's obviously one look there. I'm just going to finish this real quick here. Assassino, the traffic from Google, though, was a headwind in Q2. They're seeing less traffic coming from Google as a source. So that makes you wonder whether or not as many people are using Google to find their stuff, Joseph. So that is definitely something we need to be concerned about.
Absolutely, absolutely. We ready? All right, so new traders, listen up. First month free, that's right. We're waiving fees, trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite, analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading?
Yes.
Scan the QR code or check that link in the description, folks. Yeah. Sharif, just to add to your point there, you know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit? So first I'm going to make this point. So I like that they're kind of de-escalating their gaming sector, right? So they're going to focus more on the core business. I like that. What does that remind me of? When Mark Zuckerberg was obsessed with the metaverse, and everybody's like, no, we're not ready to head in that direction yet. We know the capex that came from that. You know how much hyper-focused he was on that, but I like that we're seeing nice, solid growth from Reddit, but they're focusing on what is really, really well for them, and they're also de-escalating what isn't working for them. So the gaming and the marketplace, non-core initiatives, they're like, hey, we're not going to focus on that just yet. Let's focus on what's working, and I love the growth that we're seeing here in Reddit. So, and from a technical standpoint, this is kind of what you want to see, right? A big-time gap up. This is a healthy candle here.
Beautiful.
I think that this can be sustained. You may get somewhat of a gap fill, but when a company is growing like this, and now compared to somewhat to Robinhood, but there's some solid growth numbers here that we're experiencing in this name, and I think you're going to continue on this trajectory, personally.
All right. Now, Dara, anything specifically stand out to you here with the Reddit report?
Yeah, I mean, I think the technical also, like the fact that we gapped up above a double top at 160, that's gorgeous. Let's see what we do at 200. I also think, we talked about this a little bit as well, Sharif, a lot of, like you and Neil and I this morning, a lot of these day one earnings plays that have gapped up lately have not been able to hold the gap. Reddit's like, what do you mean? And is just chilling to the upside. So I think that is distinct. It was a solid report, and I did look into it, Sharif, the difference between logged in and logged out daily active users, and it's real weird. So logged in is if you are logged into the account, you have a Reddit account, you're logged in. That makes sense. The logged out is where things get funky. That's like if you access Reddit via Google or via a search engine. So Google something and you go on Reddit, you're a daily active logged out user. If you're on your platform, if you're logged into Reddit, you're a daily active logged in user. It seems to be
interesting,
a distinction without a salient difference, but either way, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I think Reddit looks good. I honestly don't have much to say here beyond this is a great reaction. I think the fact that the reaction is distinctly different from what we're seeing with other fairly well-received earnings reports, honestly, like, it's green it today. So I have to give them their flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. And not a lot's green today on the market, Derek. Well said. All right, let's talk about NVIDIA and this, low-key drama that's happening with China. You're not hearing too much about it because we're in the midst of earnings season, but this is a pressing issue. So Chinese regulators actually summoned NVIDIA representatives to address what they're terming a national security concern, specifically about that China H20 chip that's being, sent over there now that it's back on the table. The Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC, they claim the chips could contain serious vulnerabilities, including potential backdoors and tracking tech. The CAC demanded NVIDIA submit documentation on any security risks that the chip have, including alleged remote shutdown or positioning capabilities. NVIDIA, for their part, they're strongly denying these reports that there is the presence of any backdoors on any of its chips, and they emphasize there is no remote access functionality built into its GPUs, directly countering what the US and the Chinese were concerned about. Now, will obviously the US want that tracking on there so they can shut these chips down remotely if they wanted to, and the Chinese don't want them. NVIDIA saying, look, it doesn't exist either way. US lawmakers, through the US Chips Security Act, introduced back in May, they proposed mandatory tracking features on exported chips. Lawmakers like your boy Senator Tom Cotton, Representative Bill Foster, they all support embedding location verification and shutdown capabilities on exported AI chips. Some of this tech is apparently, I mean, I'm no tech expert, but some of this tech is reportedly already present on these NVIDIA chips, sparking the suspicion abroad. So, Joseph, are we naive to think that, I'm not talking to you, Ram, are we naive to think that there's nothing on here, or does China have a case?
I think they have a solid case here.
Let's call a spade a freaking spade, man.
You know what I mean? I think they have a fantastic case. I mean, as for NVIDIA, it's, you know what? I think we're fortunate enough to even have the H20 back on the table. Right? So, you know what I mean? Donald went across those Gulf countries, struck some amazing deals. The market priced it out, the H20 out of NVIDIA, struck some deals across the pond, fantastic stuff. And then the H20 was back on the table, and you've seen the movement that we've seen in this stock over the past couple of weeks. Now, I think it's an ultimate benefit, but again, we mentioned this yesterday, Sharif.
Yes,
China's not going to want the chips if they're going to be monitored like that.
Exactly.
Like they're
not going to let the chips in, Joseph.
What do you want to? What are you guys trying to babysit us at the end of the day? No, they're not going to have any of that. Essentially, they're competitors, right? And I think that's not the best look for that specifically. So,
Adara, did you read anything about this story? Any more color you can add into this drama?
Yeah, I saw some of this yesterday. I don't know the extent to which it's changed. I do have one element I want to mention, but first I have to talk about Disney. Initially, Disney did not react to this story at all, but now it's kind of dropping as I think more people report it. The Athletic is reporting that the NFL is dealing red zone, so I guess selling its red zone NFL and media assets to ESPN, which is owned by Disney, in a blockbuster $1 billion agreement. So NFL selling a whole bunch of assets to ESPN, of course, owned by Disney. Disney is not reacting well to this. Initially, it didn't react at all to this, which is why I didn't throw, but now it's dropping. In terms of the NVIDIA, the backdoor aspect, I mean, NVIDIA addressed it yesterday. They said there's no backdoors. Today, though, we did have a report which impacted NVIDIA not at all, that apparently we basically have the U.S. also, I guess, trying to, apparently they've been stalling the application approval to even sell the chips to China. So honestly, I think the concerns over whether or not there is a backdoor are completely a moot point, unless and until the Commerce Department can, for lack of a better term, get its act together and get these applications approved, because apparently it's Howard Lutnick at the Commerce Department that are stalling, and they're the reason that regardless of these applications apparently being all good, they're not actually getting approved. So NVIDIA and a whole bunch of other companies, as I reported earlier, are apparently not able to ship to China, regardless of what anyone's saying.
I wonder if it's kind of the same thing, Adara, as the Chinese dragging their feet with the rare earths that we heard about earlier, and now the U.S. obviously still engaged with China in negotiations, so dragging their feet on some of these H20s as the tit for tat exchange goes on. Thank you for that, Adara. Interesting stuff there. Let's go on over here, Joey. Let's talk a little. I don't even want to talk Moderna. I'm not even going to look at Moderna. No. We'll talk a little Exxon and Chevron, even though, we rarely even mention these oil names anymore. They both did quite well from what I understand. Let's just look at where the price action is. Everything is negative in my energy watch list there. But here's what happened. ExxonMobil, profit slide, output hits record. So the Q2 net income fell about 23% year over year, down to $7.1 billion or $1.64 a share, but still beat the Wall Street estimates of $1.54 a share on revenue of $81.5 billion, topping the 80 3/4 expected, despite the softer oil prices. Not bad. They pumped up 4.6 million barrels per day, their highest Q2 output since the ExxonMobil merger back in the day. The Permian Basin responsible for a production hit here of about 1.6 million barrels per day, contributing to the overall resilience. The upstream profits did drop 23% year over year, down to about $5.5 billion, a little bit less. And the refining profits, Jody, I can definitely see why this is happening, rose 44% year over year. And the reason I say I see this happening is because, well, on this side of the border anyway, we keep watching oil prices drop while gas prices maintain their levels or even go up. Well, how the hell is that possible? Oh, yeah, the refiners got to take their cut, and their cut seems to be growing every time around. So we'll keep an eye out on that. They did return about $9.2 billion to shareholders, $4 billion in dividends, and about $5 billion in share buybacks. And they did reaffirm that they're going to buy back about $20 billion worth of stock for the remainder of 2025. So not a bad look there. Let's talk about Chevron here super quick. Q2 net income dropped 44% year over year, down to about $2.5 billion or $1.45 a share. Adjusted EPS did beat the street's consensus estimate of 170. They printed 177 on that. Joey, revenue came in at about $44.8 billion, above consensus of $43.8, so about $1 billion beat there. But they took a $215 million loss tied to the Hess share revaluation during that acquisition. We know that that was removed from the S&P not that long ago. Production did rise 3% year over year in the Permian Basin, again contributing here substantially for Chevron as well as Exxon. About 1 million barrels per day coming out of West Texas right now. Not a bad look. Any comments on this, Joey? We don't really get into this.
Yeah, we don't talk about these too much. There's two spaces that I wouldn't get involved in. Well, I shouldn't say that because I have before. But currently now, with my current knowledge, that's going to be biotech. It's going to be some of these oil and gas names. For me personally, if you look at this from a daily perspective, there's nothing that intrigues me here, Sharif, whatsoever. It's just, okay, yeah,
you don't like these energy companies?
I don't like them.
Nobody likes them.
I don't like them at all, whatsoever, right? So here it is. Like, when do we start consolidating? 2022. So you've been trading in like a $25 range for 3 years. For 3 years, you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? So for me personally, it's just a space that I completely avoid at all costs.
Okay.
Do they offer a dividend? I'm sure they do because you can't collect the divvy. Other than that, don't expect any capital appreciation in some of these names.
Ram.
What was
Ram. See the views? We're closing in, girl.
How many views you got?
Don't worry about it, my boy.
All right, my boy.
You don't have TikTok.
All right,
you gotta have TikTok to find out.
Hold on, man.
All right, let's go.
Oh, you're lucky.
Oh, what happened?
You're lucky.
Oh, this guy, bro. This guy's on Snapchat. You guys know what if you're on Snapchat, we all know what's up. All right, let's. What do you mean?
What?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ob.
what's up? What's up with that?
Exactly.
Tell 'em what's up
Come
with that,
show. Come have a look at what he's showing me.
What you got going on there, Ob? You never added me, brother.
Oh, man. Yeah, the chat knows what's up. Everybody's responded, man. Everybody knows what Snap's about. All right, let's go. Let's talk about Pharma products. Assassino. Sorry, let me move it over. Sorry, Assassino. I know that you had that set up. There we go. So Pharma products, or Pharma under pressure in general. Your boy Donald sent letters, Joseph, to 17 pharmaceutical firms demanding, binding commitments to cut U.S. drug prices to what he's calling the most favored nation status. We'll explain that in a second. He wants it done by September 29th. Very specific, Donald is. Darren doesn't like that. Firms were warned The government will use every tool, in quotes, available if they do not comply, but no specific punitive measures were actually outlined. The targeted firms, your Pfizers, Merck, J&J, Novo Nordisk,
AstraZeneca,
Astra, Amgen, Eli, frickin' Lilly, and others as well. We know that sent 17 letters, so 17 different companies. Obviously, what we're talking about here, the drug makers must offer. This is what most favored nation is, the MFN thing. Drug makers must offer equal or better prices to U.S. Medicaid patients than any other developed market. Mostly we're talking about Europe, we're talking about Canada, as well as some Asian countries. Firms were also told to stop giving other countries better pricing than the U.S. receives. Trump wants companies to sell directly to consumers to bypass, those pharmacy benefit managers, which are a real thorn in a lot of people's sides, trust me. So you can obviously drop the prices by removing the middleman. He has a broader strategy here using tariffs. The move is part of the broader goal to slash U.S. drug prices by about 80%. That's his goal. And in May, he signed an executive order tying U.S. drug prices to foreign price benchmarks under that whole MFN model, most favored nation. He also floated the industry-wide tariffs of up to 200%, Joseph, heightening uncertainty. Obviously, he loves to create chaos in these markets. He's the kind of guy, he'll walk into a room, drop a grenade, and then just walk right out.
Go out. Yeah, exactly.
What are your thoughts here?
What he does? I don't know. I don't really want to, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. Those stocks are way past their prime, in my opinion.
But you can't say biotech's past its prime. I mean, people are still sick.
No, people are still sick. I'm saying some of these names are, right? We've seen them peak. Yeah. What I'm referring to, essentially, is what I should say. Obviously, with the medical space, you're continuously growing, right? Medicine's getting better, et cetera. That's positive. But you can't be hung up on the same thing, Shreve. You mentioned to me the other day that Moderna's still talking about COVID.
Still talking.
Are you kidding me? Come on, this is your peak. This is when you plateaued. Where is it? I can't even find it.
There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
All
the way back here. This is essentially when Moderna plateaued. And then sure enough, now you're trading all the way down to $27. This thing was $500 at one time, Shreve, $499, and you're trading at $27. You go to Pfizer. Pfizer is the biotech of Intel. So Intel and Pfizer, if they were in the same sector, it's the same thing. Dead money for a long time. You're in this for a dividend, and sure enough, peaks at COVID here in 2020. $60, and now you're trading back in the mean around $23. For me personally, I'm not getting involved in this until there's some form of crisis where we need a new vaccine or anything along those lines, some form of massive outbreak. I'm not even looking at the space.
All right, Adara, give us your opinion on this whole thing. Donald Trump wants prices to come down, and he's threatening 200% tariffs.
Yes, and Caroline Levitt yesterday called out my girl Lilly by name, Eli Lilly and other health companies. And I'm like, did you need to do that, Caroline? Because Lilly fully tanked on it. But I want to talk about these letters, Shreve. I'm going to take a really bizarre angle, which is the tone of the letters. And this is the letter I zoomed in because in case you guys are thinking this is kind of weird. So this is the CEO of Eli Lilly. His name's David Ricks. So this says, Mr. David Ricks, Eli Lilly and Company. Instead, initially it said, Dear Mr. Ricks, Trump has crossed it out and written in his own handwriting, David, over it. Now, I looked, Sharif and Joe, this is not the only CEO he did this with. He did this with the CEO of Regeneron, whose name is Leonard. He crossed it out and wrote Len. Then we also had the CEO of Pfizer got the same treatment. So Sharif and Joe, here's my theory. We know that Eli Lilly and Pfizer executives, I don't know, I'm not sure about Regeneron, but I know executives from Eli Lilly and Pfizer have met with Trump frequently. So I'm thinking he's trying to keep these guys in their good books by weirdly crossing out, making sure they have the first names. He's trying to be like, hey guys, I'm more casual with you. I don't need to call you.
He just looks lazy as hell there, Dara. I think he didn't want to print out another letter.
Okay.
Come on, Donald.
I think it's lazy, but I think that what he was trying to do, though, do you see what I mean? The point I'm trying to make is I think he's trying to appease them. I don't know why this was the way he tried to do it. But then my other side of this also is Novo Nordisk, they had the old CEO. They had the CEO that left 2 months ago. these letters are so scattershot and so confused. It's not even funny. This is funny, but it's not.
Can you
that
send
funny.
me that, please? Just DM me that. I'd like to take a gander at that as well. It'd be
So the letters are also exactly the same for each.
Oh, they are?
I want to
Okay.
put that out, but I'll send you the Eli Lilly letter screenshot,
thank
and
you.
Sharif, you have it right now. But I want to
that.
mention too, I think this could be a bit of a headwind for not only Eli Lilly and its friends, but also Hims and Hers getting hit pretty hard too with another aspect of what they're trying to do. Reuters is reporting that apparently they're trying to switch up the Medicaid and Medicare game, kind of in line with the most favored nations pricings, and this could actually hurt Hims and Hers because they're providing a more affordable option, right? So I mean, initially they gap down, tried to recover, double tapped the 66 clean right off the open, and they've dropped like almost slightly $4 off that level.
And
right?
Adira,
So bad looks for Hims.
let's give everybody context. Affordable $700 a month, by the way.
Yeah, it's
right.
still not
$6.99.
great.
Yeah,
It's still not great, but it's hard
I
because
see your
these
point,
drugs
though.
are so expensive. But I think either way, it's going to probably hurt Hims and Hers.
Thank you, Adira, for that. Yeah, that concludes obviously the news segment there, Joey. I mean. Interesting stuff there. Look, I don't dislike his motive to get drug prices down. We know that they pay substantially more. They, meaning the Americans, more than us. In Canada, we obviously have things regulated. There's also more in Canada in terms of forcing drug manufacturers to allow generic drug manufacturers to make their products after a shorter period. So it's like 12 or 15 years, you have exclusive right, and then your patent lapses. And then you can get these generic guys coming in, undercutting you, basically selling it for a fraction of what you're selling the brand name at. The States, they have a longer window as well. So you feel like maybe, that there's some stuff down there that they could do. But then when you're looking at it, the bigger philosophy of it, it's still the government intervening. It's still the government throwing their hat into the business ring and adding anomalies into the market where it's not supply demand based. But you can also make the argument when it comes to people's health, maybe they should be doing that.
Absolutely. What was Buddy's name who just absolutely raised the price of the HIV? Shkreli, yes. Was it Martin Shkreli, I think, or something? Yeah, one of the most hated people on the planet at that time. Not too good of a look, guys. We only got a couple of minutes left here. Let's pull up my chart and see what we've got going on. Let's see here. We'll go through a couple of these chats. Yeah, Trevor L3483. Yeah, appreciate that. Nice, kind words, brother. Much appreciated. And then also we got some other things. Thoughts on Regen? I'm not trading it, but curious. We might have to take a look at that at another day, but maybe if we have some time, we're going to do a quick trade review to see what we got going on. But once again, thanks, Trevor. Much appreciated for that love there, brother. So yeah, we're short Tesla. You get the short here up the high. You get that pullback. Add a little bit more, and then we just piece it out. And then I took the majority of it out here, right at volume weighted average price, the primary target, and sure enough, boom, 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 we get that move to the downside. So that worked out relatively well. That was Tesla. What else did we trade here on the day? The TQs. Did that work for us? I don't even remember anymore. Yes, the TQs long worked out really, really well for us here today as well. So this was a good one off of those lows. Nice 5-minute hammer candle right here. You can see that displayed, and you take that move all the way north of the volume weighted average price there. So Tesla and the TQs, my better trades on the session. RDDT, I don't know what I'm saying. DDT, TNY. Definitely, that's where my largest hit came on the day, but we managed to recover that one there. So here it is. We go for that long, just didn't stick with it, took one stab at it, and then you can see that continuous appreciation in price up 20% on the day. And then NVDL, we took a quick short on that one that did not work for us. And then that was it. See, that's the thing, right? I'm really happy, even though the trade didn't work out, I'm just happy that I didn't continuously try to short this thing over and over and over again and look for that move to view up. It did pan out eventually, but for me, I know if I just were to continuously selling and I didn't get that breakdown to view up, I would have been extremely, extremely frustrated on there. So that's a loss, Reddit loss, NVDL loss, and then Amazon, a break-even trade, essentially. Small green on this one, but nothing substantial because it did come back to my break-even relatively quick, and then I got stopped out. So there it is. It did continue to climb, but that move down here just forced me to get out just in case, because the market was selling, and you don't want to hold that into the south of the volume-weighted average price. But Tesla, TSL, via TSLL, definitely our short of the day. fantastic look right there. Multiple ads, which we're happy with on that one. And then sure enough, we pieced it out there. And then TQs, our P&L wise, was most definitely our top trade here on this one. So really good look on some of those names there.
See that clock? What does the clock say, Joey?
It's 2 o'clock in the drop top. Do-do-do.
All right, guys.
Great
It's
short on
been a hell of a week, obviously. I mean, so much happened. So obviously it was very volatile, but we had a lot good going for us today. The market taking a decisive move down. We are down 2.25% on the NQ and almost down 2% right now on the ES. We were talking, Joey, that we hadn't had a plus 1% or minus 1% day in quite some time, with the VIX being so subdued. That obviously changes today with a bigger move down.
Yeah, it started off. The VIX the VIX started off pretty good, but now it's kind of cooled off there. So we're still slightly a little bit red there. But I'm out of all of my positions except for the VIX and ETHA, Sharif. I sold my IBIT calls this morning. I sold my NVDA position this morning as well too.
Well, you made some money on that because it was up in the high 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Obi, he's in for Sean. As you know, Sean with the day off. Neil and Obi are on that side, the big boys. Going to take you into the close. See you guys.
See ya.